Hell, will be taking it, got the pack, take the tag, what I usually tell the, yeah. Hell, will be taking it, got the pack, take the tag, what I
Yo, check it, huh? Tenfold hat tight, check the stands. Got that red tilling and resistance dance. They say the earth flat, a pizza pie. I just want my cut before I die. Mic check, 1, 2, truth, serum flow, word. Ricky on the line, gotta know. Conspiracy lunch, that's the spot. Deep state secrets, keep it hot. Gravy on the side, Illuminati fries. Conspiracy lunch, open your eyes. Flow good in the water, got us tame. Chemtrails in the sky ain't the same. Now they watching all of us. Lizard overlords plus GMO corn, mind control. No. Conspiracy lunch, that's the spot. Deep state secrets, keep it hot. Gravy on the side, Illuminati fries. Conspiracy lunch, open your eyes.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
No, we ain't. Sorry, Mr. Shane. We're not in the big club. Welcome, everybody, to a special evening. I threw it under the conspiracy dinner. I don't know. I just wanted to use my new intro because I've been playing with that and working on that. So I see Sweets is in the chat, and we got a special guest tonight. We got Shane, the Blind Psychonaut. Is that how? I think I said that right.
Yeah.
You there?
Yeah.
All right.
Blind Psychonaut. Yep.
Here we go. Appreciate you. We're going. It's nice to be able just to talk about conspiracy or just paranormal and different weird things. No politics, no crazy stuff. Uh-oh, I lost Shane. But we're going to talk about some Ouija boards, and I heard some stories. Are they real? Are they fake? Hopefully he can come back on. Kind of up for him. He wanted to talk about it, and I was like, hell, I want to talk about it too. It sounds fun. I heard people talking stories, so figure why not? Here. Let's see if we got 5 in the Rumble. Says, what's up, Rumbles? Rumble lurkers and Sweets. Hopefully he can click back on there and get back up. Doom. But there's Hirsch. Uh-oh. There he goes. There's Herschel. What's up, man? There it goes. It's loaded up now. How you doing tonight? Let's see. Let me look at people. Says you got no microphone. We're gonna have to select a microphone on the bottom down there. Brother Dave's Waffle House. What's up, Brother Dave? Much love across the pond. I feel for y'all people over there and all that crazy stuff. And they over there arresting that girl for defending herself and all that crazy stuff, man. It's wild. Hopefully Shane can come back. Let me look on Discord, see if he said anything. He hadn't. We'll get going. we'll get going. You know, you gotta have some technical difficulty, especially when you throw a last minute show together with people who hadn't been on this platform. It works good. It's just a little different. Why can't I? Oh, I gotta be on professional to be able to do that. Well, hopefully, Shane, and I cannot hear you, Mr. Herschel. Good old technical difficulties. It's always fun. I'm slowly but surely getting my back wall like I like it. More and more fun. Oh, there's a chat. Let me choose a mic or nothing else. Hershey might have to pull back out, and then if on that opening screen, it might make you, since we're already up and going. So leave, and then when it pops up that regular screen, and then make sure you choose a mic there. Let me type that too, in case you can't hear me. Should be able to hear me. Yeah, it kind of wants you to choose it before you came on with it, since we're already live. Here's Shane. All right. We're getting there. A little technical difficulties, but we're going to make it work.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like it froze, and then I had to close out the app and then redo the link, and so
Well, if you don't have a technical difficulties on a show, it's not going to be a good show. It's guaranteed. Can't try and get Herschel figured out. Let me try typing in the chat here. Maybe you can't hear me. I don't know.
hey, if a blind guy can get on it, anyone else can.
That's right. Shane and James can get on here and use the app and use this software. Anybody can, for sure. It's just got a little learning curve, but a lot of ways I like it better than a lot of the other ones, really.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was going to be on like before you sent me the links and all that, if it was going to be Discord or whatnot. Because I haven't heard of this uh platform.
Yeah, I learned it from because when I first started doing podcasting, I did I was on Anchor, and with Anchor, it was sitting there, and so I was just doing audio and audio and audio, and then I finally was like, okay. And then it was like, if you want to do video, you do Riverside, and I said, well, I'll try Riverside then, and I've been using it ever since. I able to you're able to record out to a lot more shows with ease, and so it's like sound StreamYard. You got to pay a whole bunch of money for it to let you screen out to more than two or whatever it is. And so
Okay, so Riverside's free.
it is free. I actually pay a little extra for a couple of extra little, extras that I like, but you can use it for free and do most things. You can do everything we're doing right now for free. Um, it's not, I forget, I think it's just in the editing and stuff. I think one of the things I did, I got a little extra. But yeah, most of all this stuff where you can, like right now, I'm streaming to 6, 7 different places at one time, and like sounds StreamYard, how you could only do 2 unless you're paying the extra. And um, Herschel, can you? I seen you got a mic on there now. I seen it had a mic.
Yeah, I'm amazed. Like with the phone I have, because I have the like the newest Galaxy, like the newest one they have out. It can do everything that like the computers can do, with like streaming and whatnot. But if I was gonna do like a podcast, I would have to figure out like a like a laptop with like like with screen reader technology. But it's too complicated for me. In case like I forget, like if I need notes, I'm like, hold on, guys, hold on, you know, read like let the screen reader read it. But the screen reader is really helpful though.
Oh, I
And
bet.
what's cool is, oh yeah, and what's cool too is I can hear it because it spits out on the because this phone has the like the two mics for outgoing and ingoing like calls, and the screen reader only uh like talks on the outgoing. So to me, so like I can mess with my phone and like the screen reader will be talking, and like someone on the phone call or on here, you guys won't hear it, which
Hmm.
is kind of crazy. Like right now, I'm playing with my phone, scrolling through it, and it's talking, and you don't hear anything. I take it.
I just hear you. That's it.
Yeah, and it's telling me, Ricky, or if I want to exit out. It's pretty wild.
That's cool. That's cool. I know. I got a big Samsung TV. I know it's got the where you could use your phone to connect with it with ease and have it blowed up and all kind of stuff. But I got a Google. What's up? Take two. Yeah, we that's what we're going to talk about. Well, I don't. I'm scared of them things. I won't lie. I'm scared of Ouija boards. So, but we sure going. That's what we're going to
Oh,
talk
same
about.
here. I've uh, I've only honestly played with them once when I was a kid. What about you?
I ain't never touched one. I've always been scared of them. My whole 46
Well,
years.
see, because I got it for Christmas. Me and my sister did back in like middle school. Because I don't remember what like game company the game board for games. I think it was Mattel, and a relative sent it to us, and I didn't really know about it because I was like 9 or 10. But we opened it up and we only kind of messed with it once. Or I messed with it once. I don't know how many times my sister did because she kept it in her room. So I have no idea. But yeah, it freaked me out in what was happening. And so I was like, after that, and then getting older and then hearing all the other stories and doing like my own research, I was like, screw that noise.
I don't blame you. I've just too many. I've heard too many stories. It's one of them things like I used to talk about at work. There's people tell me if you do this, this is going to happen, and and somebody said, well, why aren't you doing that? Certain. I was like, because I said, I'm gonna learn from other people's experience. I don't have to learn on my own experience. I can learn from other people, and that's one of them things. Like I've heard too many horror. It shows you're talking to
Yeah,
me.
I'll just be third party.
Yeah, I'm staying way out of it because I don't want no part of it. Um, None whatsoever
It-
because it is. I've heard so many different things and so many. What was trying to remember. Um, Union of the Unknowns, and she's on Nights of the Storm. Also, with Ashley, she was telling a story. I'm trying to remember what it was earlier. She was she told a story about somebody she knew, and yeah, that's I was like, you can keep that. What's up, brother Wally? Wally's World 420 is in the chat. What What do you think, Wally? You mess with a Ouija board?
so do you want me to say what I was in the Discord, which
Yeah.
made me.
Let her rip, man. Go ahead.
So lately, I've been for some reason on a kick on the true crime type podcasts, listening to like the raw type of i- interviews, or when the cops talk to like the the people have to do the crimes and all that. I'm kind of spacing on the word, but interrogation.
Mhm.
And there was a one I heard just I think it was last night, where it was three people, two guys and a girl, and they were kind of like partying or whatever, drinking and smoking some weed. I guess that's what they were saying. And they wanted to one of the guys wanted to play with the Ouija board, and so they busted it out. And he was telling the other two people that what he really wanted to do was conjure a demon, and he named a certain demon, which I don't know if you've heard of, Zozo, but I guess that's one that he wanted to conjure. And they when he was getting interrogated, they didn't really go into much detail on like the questions they were asking, but he said like some weird things happened with like the planchette, and just weird feelings. And then for some reason, it kind of turned weird that um, they stopped playing with the Ouija board, and then they all wanted to engage in adult activity. And then, so that, I guess that was transpiring. And then the guy that wanted to conjure the demon got up out of the bed, whatever, and started getting thoughts about stabbing the other guy, like just randomly.
Mm.
And they were like good friends. And so he ended up doing it, like stabbing the guy like 20 times. Like he snuck to the bathroom, and then I guess he said he got like a folding knife and hit it. Um, I don't know. Uh, it's kind of gross, but he said he hit it in his butt cheeks so no one would see it because he was naked. And then he got in the bed and then started stabbing the guy, end up killing him. And then the girl called 911, and the guy ended up dying like on the way to the hospital. But the guy that stabbed the guy, now we're get to the point where he's being interrogated, and he kept answering the questions in the manner of, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I got the thought of stabbing my good friend. Just got a bunch of rage, like just randomly, and I couldn't stop stabbing him. And he's like, in the moment, it uh felt good, but then instantly when I stopped, I had pure regret. I was scared, and he kept saying like, his body felt like it was taken over. Now, my question is that was he did his actual body get um taken over by playing with the Ouija board, and maybe even by the demon he wanted to conjure? And if so, if that is like, because that's a debate that's still going on, like if spirits or other entities can enter your body, like walk-ins or just even demons or ghosts. But I was wondering is if that is something that can actually happen, and maybe in the future, like we can actually tell if I had that intention of letting someone take over my body, if something happens, like while your body is being controlled by another consciousness or entity, and you do something bad or good, would you, even though it's your body, would you be liable for whatever happens? Say, so I guess is the better way of saying it is, even though it's your body, you're not in the driver's seat. And if someone else is in the driver's seat, should you be liable for whatever happens with uh, that event, even though it's your body, but your consciousness isn't in control?
Yeah, because I was like, what was the name? The devil. They did. I know I watched that shot doc on it. The devil made me do it, and where the guy got possessed, and he later on, what was it? But what was the name of that house and stuff like that? But he did had that happen where a young man got possessed, and he yelled out to the demons like, "Look, take me, leave the boy alone," and he did. But he was quiet, like he went away for a long time, and then one day, uh, he was living with. Let's see how the story go. He was living with him and his girlfriend at somebody's house. It is a um, like a little apartment above the business, and his boss was there, and then shoot, his wife said his eyes turned black, and like he killed the hell out of his boss, and then it went away, and I think he didn't serve a whole lot of time, but that was one of the times that the devil. They actually brought it up. They had the Warrens come out on a court case and everything, and and that was the defense was the devil made me do it. The devil he was possessed was the reason he killed somebody. And the Warrens tried to testify. And I think he got a reduced sentence for it, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's one of them things like will that could you happen that again? You know, if you're over here messing with yeah, especially messing with stuff that that's what scares me is that you start messing with this stuff that you don't really know what you're doing. You really don't know. And I know, like, I've always heard from lots of like mediums and stuff talk. And like when you do open a portal, when you do open things up, and you got to know how to close it, because if you leave it open and then, God knows only knows what's going to come through it. And plus you have things there that will act like it's a friend or act like a girl or act like a kid and truly something really super evil. And uh and so I don't know how to control it. I don't know how to do it, so I ain't messing with it. What's up, Matt Sile and Mr. Mission Control? I see y'all made it. um
Yeah, just I mean, it's a totally different realm that we in our flesh suits don't get to experience on a daily. Now, I think we can communicate it. Like I'm a big believer. Like I'm gonna go to like the dream realm, but dreaming is and where we go when we dream is kind of the same. Now, in my opinion, it is the same realm as when we die, where the ghosts or spirits go. But as we're conscious and like awake daily, and you're messing with that stuff, we can't connect to that. And like I totally agree. It's like you don't know what is gonna walk through that door. It could be a loved one. It could be an ancient entity. It could be a demon that's pretending to be the nicest little girl, but then wants to suck your energy and turn your life upside down. So it just makes me think is like because with some of like the extraterrestrials, they say our bodies are just vessels, and when we pass, our soul leaves the vessel. So if it's a vessel, is it just made for us, or can other entities that have the knowledge to be able to enter other vessels jump in and take over? Because I've heard, like, listening to some of the stories that people say they get possessed is like they feel like they're in the back seat, like they see what's going on, they understand what's going on. it like through their eyes and through their body, but they have no control. And I've even heard some stories where they talk about where they've even like had conversations in their own head with the entity, but the entity is so much stronger that it can stay in control and do what it pleases. Uh, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I was just it had just kind of popped in my head, to think about, like James always, puts together like superhero shows, and like it'd be like the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk, one side is, you know, and Bruce Banner knows what's going on, but he's inside there and he can't control it, while the Hulk is on the outside. And um, but yeah, it's absolutely that I've heard some of the same stories where they have no uh, if they even know what they're doing, like if they're surely were possessed by something super evil. Sometimes they don't even know what they're doing. Sometimes they do. They kind of like you said, be you know sitting back, and it's like watching a TV show. Really, um, I've actually had that happen to me, but it wasn't because of possession. It was alcohol did that to me one time. I was so drunk. I was so drunk. Me and my buddy was fighting, and I didn't even know it. And then he punched me, and it was like, and it knocked me like halfway awake, where I was like, it was like I was in watching a movie, and I was like watching the whole thing going on at the same time, but I had no control what my body was doing or nothing. But I was in like my subconscious was watching me and him fight, and it was the weirdest thing I ever seen. But then like
He,
20 seconds later,
oh, sorry.
I was just like about 20 seconds later, I was like, boop, and I was out. I didn't remember anything after that, until I woke up the next morning, and my face hurt and there's blood everywhere, and it was it was a
Gee, I don't
wild
want to
night.
drink with you.
Yeah, I was nosy. I was fun, but until somebody upset me, I was silly, laughing, joking, drunk until somebody upset me, and then I wasn't scared of nothing. That's why I don't drink
Yeah,
no.
you got the.
I haven't drank in over like 14 years now. So just my Dr Pepper. That's it. That's all I do.
See, I'm an Arizona iced tea drinker, like green tea or fruit punch Arizona iced tea. I can't get enough of it. But I'm curious in what you think is, do you think someone should be liable? Like if they got possessed or taken over and they kill someone or rob a bank or even something good like save someone's life, do you think they are responsible for it, or because they're not in the driver's seat, but it's their actual body, and if it can be proven, which I don't know how that's going to come about, but I think with the further we go with the technology we have, a lot of that, especially with consciousness, is really ripe in the zeitgeist right now. Like I can't go anywhere without hearing it or reading it on my feed. So I think that's getting really close. But yeah, what do you think about should someone be liable if they aren't in control of their body and it's something else is in control?
Like you said, it'd be the hardest part. I mean, if you could prove it, if there was a way to prove it for sure, when somebody just like, well, um, BS, and hey, they did something terrible. Well, and just come out and say, well, the devil made me do it, and it was just because they're just trying to get away with it. But if truly, if somebody was absolutely possessed and there was a way to prove it without a shadow of a doubt, I would truly think, at least, they should be able to work with them, or at least a lenient sentence or something like that, because they weren't in control. But that's takes to the part of the burden of truly proving what they're saying is really what happened. And but I believe it's I absolutely everything I believe is it's possible that the possessions and stuff, and there's lots of evil um, in this world that we should be messed with, and some people like to, and they pay the cost of it, they say stuff they ain't supposed to say, um, like the guy did with the, telling the entity to come to him, instead of leaving the boy alone. It's like, okay, I be careful what you ask for, and they'll do it. It's like, like the old saying of, the vampire can't come in your house unless you invite him in. As soon as you open that door and allow that energy in, um, I guess to the point you're liable there. Um, it'd be a fine line though, if you could truly prove it, that they had no control and they were not in the driver's seat. Um, I imagine they probably at least you know go to a crazy house or something like that, even though they're not truly crazy. It's just they something got a hold of them. What's up, Gaston? I see Gaston made it out to come chat with us too.
Yeah, and then I mean, it also, I guess the fine line is like if someone invites it in now because you're inviting that entity or spirit in, I think that would bring more liability onto that person. But like I said, like I hear it all the time with, I blacked out or I wasn't in control or it wasn't me. And I just makes me think, it's like, well, what was it? Like, because then you hear on the other hand, like their relative, those people's relatives, friends, like this wasn't like him or like them, I like had no clue like they're capable of this, like, or they wouldn't hurt a fly, but then they do some crazy stuff. So uh, I agree that there's evil out there, and a Ouija board is I don't know, whatever you want to call it, a doorway, a portal, internet to another realm. I don't, whatever you want to call it, but I've heard way too many creepy stories of what it can do, and I've even heard like you may not even experience something if you played with the Ouija board for years, and then years later, uh, things start happening. Like I said, I've only messed with it when I was a kid because I got it for a Christmas gift, which I think that's wild. That I think, like I said, I think it was Mattel or one of those uh, game companies that they advertise it as like a game, and I remember it too. Like it was like glow in the dark, like the planchette was glow in the dark, and the letters were glow in the dark. And I
Mm.
think I only asked it like one or two questions, and it was it was myself, my sister, and her friend, and I wasn't sure if someone was moving the planchette or if it was, energy doing it. But I know personally, I barely had my fingertips on it, and it was moving towards the other two people. Like they were across me on my sister and her friend were across me from the board, and it was moving towards them. So I don't know what it was. I don't know what, I don't know. It's something that I don't think people should take lightly, and it shouldn't be advertised as a game, which is bananas to me.
Absolutely. I don't know. It makes you wonder, that you hear, the talk of, the satanic, people of, powers that be, and pushing that kind of ideology. And, when they coming out with video, not video games, but games for that's actually portals or, doorways to other dimensions. It's like, maybe this, it makes you kind of, think about it and go, maybe maybe there's some kind of evil agenda going on, because that's the only thing that can explain that they would put something kind of like that on out as a game. It don't make sense. hey, here's your game to talk to spirits, you know. And it's like, I mean, I know it's been going on
Yeah, and
for
it's
a
geared
long time.
towards kids.
Yeah, and it's yeah,
You know,
exactly. It's like, yeah, that's how you're, that's how you bring in the end of the world kind of thing. I seen the how what's his name? He's one of the guy does kind of comedy talking and stuff like that, and um, Dad Bod, some I forget what he something like that. I forget what Dad Bod something, but he came around and it was and he's somebody found a Ouija board and like look at this old board, so we cleaned it up. And we're going to use it as a charcuterie board. They're going to put meats and cheese and stuff on it. I'm like, and then he
are you
popped up.
serious?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was an actual video. Somebody come out and said it in there, and he was like, "That's how the end of the world comes. Somebody's going to give their 3-year-old this uh, board with the trying to eat meat, shikiri board and whatever, and they're going to open the portal to the 11th level of hell or something." But
Well, that kind of makes me think like one, you said it was an old board. You don't know what energy is attached to it, and they're putting meat on it. Like that was a. I mean, could that be considered some type of like sacrifice? Maybe because like you're putting a dead flesh on that board. Now I know that might be out kind of super left field, but that's what I kind of made me pop in my head is because that animal had to die, and now you're putting it on uh that the Ouija board, which is used to communicate. Which I've also, you hear to open those portals and stuff like on the Santanic side, they do sacrifices. Now I know it's not they're doing it right there, but at that moment, well, I hope not, but it's still, you're putting dead you're putting dead flesh on that doorway, which is I don't know, that's just crazy.
yeah, that's on
People
another
are
level.
people are wild.
Yeah, and they are. Sweets has got the info here. She got the 411 on the Ouija board. It said the current Ouija board manufacturer is Hasbro, but the original was Parker Brothers, and originally bought the rights to make and sell the board from the full FULD family in 1966. The board was first commercially produced and popularized and but okay by the Parker Brothers, but before that, the Ford company actually produced them. So, um, and now Hasbro has them, which
I
yeah, I
mean,
don't
how does that board meeting go?
know. We're I got a great
I'm
idea for a new toy for our kids. We're gonna we're gonna give them the tool to summon a demon. Sounds great. Let's green the shit light the shit out of that. I don't know. There's got to be something extra going on there to some kind of agenda or something like that. Brother Willie's Desert Hangout is in the chat. What's up, brother? Appreciate you popping in.
the one thing I've had experience with like I would say in the spirit realm is because I am a big lucid dreamer and I'm really into that and like astro projection and out of bodies and all that. And I have an aunt that unfortunately took her own life back in the mid to late 70s. So I've never met her, never talked to her, and from my research and from learning really how to like astral travel, because I've become friends with I don't know if you've heard of the author UFO researcher Preston Dennett, but I reached out to him and told him my story and what like I've gone through, and we kind of just became friends, and he told me like if I wanted to, talk to passed on loved ones or meet people that have been passed on, um, kind of taught me how to do it. And so I one night I wanted to communicate and meet this particular aunt, and so I did what I was told what to do, like I guess you say the protocols, and I found myself in this super. The best way I can describe it was like if you went into someone's mind who was like schizophrenic, crazy. That's how it felt. Like everything was so chaotic. The room I was in was very 70s looking, like disco type stuff, colorful. And I and this lady walked in and it and she was super chaotic. And I remember her first words when she saw me was like, "What the F are you doing here? And who the F are you?" And so I kept trying to talk to her, and I remember I was like, I asked her name, and she's like, "How do you know that?" And then I was like, "Well, I am your brother's son," which I said his full name, and she's like, I remember her saying, "Don't say that, don't say that name," and like I just got so overwhelmed with emotion of like chaos, everything coming at once. Like it's really hard to explain, but I ended up telling myself like I can't do this right now. Like I gotta leave. So I remember going back to my body, and then I woke up, and then in my bed, and then I was laying there, and I kind of started drifting off, and then it was as if someone jumped into my consciousness and into my third eye, and it was her, and she's like, "Where the F did you go? Why did you leave? I didn't tell you could leave." Like I wasn't even trying to like go see her. I was just trying to go back to sleep, and it was like her as a spirit jumped back into my space. And I mean that's an experience I've had with, I would say, with spirit. And it wasn't bad, it was just crazy. So I can only imagine like a demonic entity. If if what I felt was as intense, I can only imagine like a demonic entity or a bad spirit itself. Like that shit would be too much for me. So I don't know if you've experienced like a spirit like that or anything of that nature.
I've had I actually got to talk about it before on James' show before a long time ago. But I remember I was at my house um years ago, and I remember everything. It was weird. The room got really cold, and all of a sudden I seen like this entity at the end, like into my bed, and I'm like, "F this," and I did like a little kid, and I just put the sheets over my um, head, and I'm like, "I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with this," and I was good. It finally went away, and then the next day it actually came back, but it came back into my dreams the next day. It wanted to communicate with me bad. And so I remember having this conversation. His name was James, and me and James were having this conversation, and I turned around, and then I said, I guess the worst thing you can say to a spirit, and I was like, well, what caused you to, to hang out in limbo? Like, what did you do that made you sit here, where you couldn't cross over? And he got mad and yelled and like slammed his hands on my bed, and that's like and gone. And then I didn't see him.
Oh,
Yeah, I pissed him off, but like seriously, it was just wild. Like I said, the like 2 days in a row, this like I said, one day, like I said, it got super cold. And it was like a movie. I don't know if you ever felt the scene like that. It was like a movie. Like the whole room got huge. It's like, or I got really small. Like it felt like the bed got huge, and just like everything. Um, and then like I said, the temperature was just frigid in there. I was freezing to death. I walked in the freezer or something, and I just took my blanket and my sheets, and I just covered my head, and I'm like, I'm not, and I'm just in my head, I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with this. This is bullshit. And then, but then it came back the next day, and in my dreams, and which you realized they could talk to me easier that way, and until I upset it.
Now, could you remember what your conversation was?
The only part I absolutely remember, of course, is pushing, over 15 years ago now. Probably getting closer to 20, but I just remember the end of it. I remember him talking to me, having a conversation, and I know he told me his name was James. And then while I was sitting there having a conversation with him, and I don't think it truly, I don't think it went very long because I'm an idiot. And then because I asked him that question, and he got mad and left. And it's like, but it was, but I never had.
So were you lucid, you think?
Possibly not trying to or nothing like that. I was just,
Something just triggered it, probably.
yeah, something just triggered it. Because I haven't tried to do lucid until I met the Trouble Minds people in group in the last couple of years. I'm trying to do like hemisync and stuff like that. I've done that using it on the TV, and which it worked so because, but it wasn't. And then I put headphones on, and it was like really crazy. But
Well, that's how you're supposed to with the hemisync or binaural beats is you have to wear headphones. That's how I call it technology works best, is because it one through one ear a certain hurt will go through your ear into your brain on one hemisphere, and then on like your other ear a different hurt goes to the other hemisphere, and then your brain interprets it into one. But if you listen to like from like you said like the TV, it doesn't give your brain that chance to interpret it into a single hurt. You'll hear both of them, and it just I don't know exactly why it doesn't work as nearly as good. But yeah, headphones. If and people in the chat, if you guys want to use the hemisync or Bionera Beats headphones, and I would suggest over the ear headphones. I mean, if you like the earbuds, but I'm a fan of like the old like earmuff style.
yeah, that's what I got. I got a little bit of cauliflower ear from fighting and stuff, so I can't really use earbuds. They don't really fit very well, so I got to use the bigger ones. But yeah, it did work for better. I mean, I had some wild dreams, and I was hitting lucid dreaming with it without having the headphones, but it was deeper and stronger with them on, and for sure.
Were
It's
you
just not
sleeping with it?
Yeah, I was going to sleep with it. I was sitting there and listening to it and counting down, and then I'd just go out and then la la in La La Land I went, and um I haven't done it in a while because it does, I don't really like sleeping with them headphones on. I wake up and side of my head hurts, because of the way I'm laying. But I have crazy
Yeah.
wild dreams anyway. I had 2 days ago, I think it was, and it was absolutely insane. It was all kinds of people through different like chapters of my life was right there, and then the damn sun exploded right in front of me, and pieces of it like hit the ground kind of near me, and and I remember sitting there thinking, "Huh, I'm gonna have to get home and get the heater working because the cats are gonna get because the sun's not gonna be out no more." And I'm like, and that was my thought in my head. Like, I'm gonna have to get home because the cats are gonna get cold, and I'm gonna get cold. We're gonna have to get the heat going.
Even though the sun just exploded.
Yeah, the sun just exploded. We're about to freeze to death. But yeah, I swear on everything. It was like 2 days ago. I had that. Um,
That's really funny.
yeah,
Oh,
it was
what
wild.
I remember one. I became lucid, and for some reason, I was like, I remember it popped in my head. I was like, I want to be like Iron Man. So I thought to myself, like, all right, get the suit on like Iron Man, and it happened, and then I remember putting my hand. I was like, all right, I want to like make a flamethrower, and but the fire coming through my palms, and all of a sudden, like this stream of fire started coming through my palm of my hand, and I remember I started getting scared because I was like in this like village or little city, and like I couldn't stop the flame from like going. It's like 30 feet, like it was shooting out, and like all of a sudden, the houses, the people, the trees were all on fire, and I was like, and I thought to myself, like, oh my god, I just murked everyone here. Like, and I remember I got emotional, started like almost crying, and then I was like, this is a dream. Like, what the hell am I getting all emotional about? But yeah, that it was pretty wild. I guess one of those you got to be there. But uh, it was like it wouldn't turn off, and it was like a 30-foot flame. I was like, holy shit!
That is wild for sure. That is wild as hell. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I I wonder on like a lot of dreams and stuff. I've been kind of um because like sometimes I'll have these deep lucid dreams, and I wonder if like are we tapping into like a multiverse of seeing ourselves in another realm um because it's like we turn around and like, all right, we're heading to your parents' house regularly. Okay, and we're riding with some friends, and then all of a sudden they pull in the driveway. I'm like this ain't my parents' house, but it's my parents. I seen them. The same people were there, but it's like different locations and stuff, and it's like weird, and like my grandfather be still alive and stuff like that, and it was like, what's going on here? Why is this just this little bit difference? And
Yeah, like the how, like say like your house, right, has like an extra room in it, or it's furnished a little differently than it should be, or the arrangements are different. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, I mean, I absolutely like a totally like different house. Like I know one of the last times I had it happen, really, it was, it was like they were in some kind of, I guess, older farmhouse or something like that, and 'cause my parents don't live in the whole farmhouse, but uh, and so it was like it was wild to see, but like I said, but the people were the same people. Like my grandfather was there, and my parents were there, and it was the same people, same faces, same everything. Like the people I knew, it's just the only difference was like the locations and stuff. So, um, and I've had it happen many times, over the years, it's just kind of, I know we talked about it on Trouble Minds, show sometime, several times, and it was like I wonder, like, when we hit our lucid dreams, sometimes are we tapping in, like when, and like, for instance, let me tell this, like I was dreaming. What was I doing? I just remember the end very, very well. It was last year, I think, and I was dreaming and turned around. I was walking around and I was doing and whatever, hanging out with people, and I'm like, man, I need to take a nap. I need to take a nap. I'm tired. So I lay down in that state, and when my eyes closed there, my eyes opened here, like instant.
That's wild.
I had that happen before. Um, so that made me wonder, like, if I was, you know, it really kind of reinforced in my head, like, man, I have to be tapping into something there to for especially for the timing like that. Like soon as my eyes closed and I'm like relax, pop. I was wide awake looking around. I'm like, what in the hell just happened? And I realized and I could like I said it, I don't remember. I remember I was hanging out with somebody and I don't remember who it is now, but that ending just stuck with me forever. And
It's like you walked out of one realm and entered the waking realm.
yeah, absolutely. I've had that happen. And the other really wild thing, um, the I've had lots of wild lucid dreams and stuff like that over the years, and it happened the same like style and everything multiple times. But I remember, I think that day was truly like me and my daughter was watching a show. What was the name of that show? It was like a ghost show, whatever. I remember that, and we went to sleep, and and I think someone was there talking because my daughter had the same dream, the same type of entity, whatever. But for me, like it was sitting there standing beside me. I fell asleep in my recliner, and she was on the love seat against the wall, and and we were and I was sitting there, and that thing woke me up, and it's like, and I'm like, holy hell! I said, it's got to be a dream, and I popped, and I popped up, and I'm like, okay, and I start looking around, like cool, and I was in the same place. I was in my house. Everything looked the same, but everything was gray. Absolutely everything was gray. Once I realized what was going on, I was like, now what the hell is going on now? I'm like, hell, I'm
You
still dreaming. I'm on another level here.
you
And I
mean
woke.
like you? Oh, real quick. Do you mean that what you were seeing was like through like a gray filter?
Yes, yes,
Was it like, but was everything like super clear,
yes.
even though it was? Because when I astral project, what I see, because I when I actually dream and astral project, um, I see in like perfect vision, even though I'm really blind. But I see in like a grayish blue filter, but everything is crystal. It's like looking through like crystal clear water, like the clearest water you could ever see, but with a blue gray filter.
Hmm.
So, and I've heard that actually a lot with people that are uh astral projecting.
Maybe that's what I
So
was
sorry to
doing.
interrupt you.
Oh no, no, that's awesome. That's good information there because I really didn't. I have no idea. Like I said, I try to look up stuff, and of course, I'm like, what do I type in the computer to figure this out? It's been a lot of things over my life. Like, man, I only know how to even word to even try to find something on what I'm doing. But yeah, it was everything was clear. Everything was like I didn't even notice it at first, but it was just like I was looking in through like a black and white TV, but everything was clear as a bell. And then I finally realized like I'm still dreaming. And then I woke up again, and then I woke up in, I guess you can say, this realm, and then everything, like my kitchen light was on, and like TV was on, and it was lights and stuff everywhere because we just watching TV, and then both just passed out. And but she and my daughter actually had the same dream of the same creature standing in between us, entity or whatever the hell that thing was. um I guess the new owners of my old house, maybe they had to deal with that. Hopefully, he didn't follow me along over here. I don't know, but hopefully he's
Yeah,
over there and
yeah.
leave me alone. But but yeah, I just I've had those things happen, and then it's which I do believe, like there's lots of I do believe that that many people have like gifts, like even like the Bible talks the gifts of the Spirit and stuff like that, and we have different gifts of like with empathy and all kinds of stuff, and some we don't understand, and some we don't have a scare to you know to tap into, and I just wonder. I think I have some gifts I really don't know how to even touch, or I really don't. It's one of them things. It's like, man, if you start really looking at some of the stuff, it's like, well, I've talked to people and like, yeah, and they're like, I see what you're saying, but then you have to really start diving deep in like new age look and new age this, and I don't like I don't want to do that. I'm like, But yeah, I was like, I don't, there's got to be some truth in all this. And I don't know, it's one of them things. Just always, I've had a lot of weird, odd things happen to me over the years, and lots of questions and very few answers.
Yeah, and the bad thing about it is, especially in today's society, if you try to ask or talk about it, people are like, "You're freaking crazy." Like, what are you talking about? Like, they don't want to believe it, which is sad. And I think everyone has that capability of being reaching out to the spirit realm or uh lucid dreaming or any of that stuff is, but it's this society is so materialistic, and the things that are there's so much stuff that I don't know, really, like, not hinders but clogs your mind not to allow you to expand it. And then, like I said, like, if you try to ask or talk about it to people, you get that stigma of like, you're crazy, you're weird. So people don't want to talk about it, which is, I wish people would. And I feel like there's a corner that's been turned. Like I said earlier, like in the zeitgeist, the consciousness aspect of humans is like real big. Like Joe Rogan on his podcast, he's had a bunch of people talking about, not just UFOs, but consciousness, and other podcasts, and even like a News Nation, just even the other day, they had some consciousness stuff on like their YouTube. So it's turning a corner. But I did have a question for you. Like you said, you've had a lot of lucid dreams.
Hmm.
Have you, when you became lucid, was it while you were dreaming? Is that like how every time you uh become lucid, like you'll just be normally dreaming, or you're already in a dream and then you're like, "Oh, I'm aware now."
Yeah, I mean, it seems that way. Like, it's just, the dream is so vivid, it's so um, out there that, everything, to me, to make it more the lucid. Um, because I just having little normal little dreams, something like that. I really don't remember, but once I do hit, you know, that deep sleep, and I hit that moment of, you know, of understanding, like, there's, just different stuff going on and everything. It's um, but yeah, I would imagine, just thinking and bouncing in my head. I was, I'd be in a dream state, and then it just eventually I hit that next level, unless I'm messing around, like I said, unless I'm messing with Henry Sink, and then I'm like damn near, as soon as my eyes close and I'm out, I'm there. But if I'm just sitting there on my own, um, you know, even with you know, I used to think it was like, if I was watching TV, the TV would come into my dreams and stuff like that, and like um, especially uh, back when I worked like overnight for at Kroger and stuff, way back in the day. I would sit there and I'd be like watching History Channel or something like that, and I'd go to sleep, and I'd wake up, and like it was to the point like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. They would have like uh, it would be, what, how,
UFO shows.
now it'd be like um, Revolutionary War battles and talking, but everything being Spanish. So everything, so it would be just completely wild. I wake up and I'll be, things talking in Spanish to me, and but then they have, uh, a Revolutionary War, the garb on and stuff, just crazy stuff. But now, like, as I've gotten older and just kind of more in tune, it's realized, that there's something there. I really don't, the TV really don't affect me like it used to. It's just wherever that the dream goes, it goes. It has nothing to do with what's on TV. Because I'll go to sleep with random stuff on the Wi-Fi's on, or Ancient Aliens on, or whatever the TV on YouTube, and then go to sleep. But none of that usually comes through. It's always different stuff.
Yeah, when I lucid dream, I actually consciously induce it. So I'll end up waking up, and then I can go from awake without even like losing consciousness into the dream, which is uh that's wild. I've played around with it, and I have, like, to me, I have an unfair advantage to do that because of uh the loss of eyesight. And then, like, when I wake up, like, I'll end up waking up out of the dream and then, like, having to go to the bathroom or get a drink of water or whatever. But when I wake up, what I actually see in my actual field of vision, I know this is going to sound weird, but I start seeing, first off, the hue I see is like a pinkish reddish color, and then throughout my field of vision is like, uh, the best way to, like, sparkles are going off. So I see these little, like, sparkles, and if I just kind of look at that for a second, and suddenly this swirl happens, like, two colors, green and red, and if I concentrate on that, it kind of spins faster, like a whirlpool, and then, like, a lot of weird imagery starts happening, and then I kind of get, like, sucked into a dream. But see, my normal vision, like when I walk around day to day, is I don't I just see in light perception, so I can see just some light perception. I don't see detail, and it's like black and white. So to me, I call it my cheat code because I start seeing colors and imagery, and if I just concentrate on that. And what's crazy is, like, I've messed around with, when I get in that state, which I've determined it's called the hypnagogic state, which is where a lot of people can hallucinate, and it's literally like the state right before you enter a dream. Like, if you're wanting to do, like, lucid dreaming, or even, like, some remote viewers get in the hypnagogic state. So I don't know if you've heard of that state, but um, I've kind of experimented with it, and I totally agree with you. The dream realm and the waking realm are completely two different realms, and I think and the reason why I'm saying this is because, like I said, I can consciously induce my lucid dreams, and while I'm laying here in bed, I usually have, like, a podcast or something playing on my phone. And my AC's running, so I can hear it click off and on, and I can feel the AC blowing through the vent in my apartment. So I have that external stimulation. I can hear, like, audible, physical. But when I get to that point where I start seeing that swirl of color, like I talked about right before I can enter into a dream, it's literally like there's a point where I'll either take, like, a deep breath in, and, like, at that apex of that deep breath in is kind of like where that switch happens. And what happens is literally all the external stimulation that I feel and hear goes away. It just, as if someone turns it off. And then, like, my body goes limp. And I've even had it where, like, I've had my arms, like my arm at, like, hanging, like, I don't know how to explain it, like, my at a 90 degree, and my hand is facing up towards my ceiling because I wanted to see what happened. And when I get into that dream, I could feel my body just kind of go limp, and all external, like I said, all external stimulation is gone. Touch, hear, touch, audible, everything. But then it switches into my dream realm, and then I can feel here and there. So we something happens to our consciousness while we dream, through my experience and what I believe after a lot of this, like lucid dreaming and experimenting and research, because one, we sleep about 1/3 of our life, and then we actually dream almost about 6 years of our life, which is a lot. And to me, in my mind, is like, why would we one sleep so much and then dream so much? It's got to be important. It has to be. And I know some of like the doctors that study this is, regenerates your body and heals, which I believe that too. But I also think it is also to get us ready for that when we pass away. Because, like I said earlier, I think the dream realm is, maybe it's not a spitting image or exactly like where we go when we pass away, but there's the similarities of what we experience in the dream realm. And like when people have near death experiences, or some people that have died, are like hand to hand, like they're very similar, like hard to remember some things. uh they even say, like, when, because I've had a few near death experiences, because I've passed away a few times in a coma, and they were literally like dreams, but more intense, more vivid, and a lot of like, it'd take a while to tell you what I experienced, but a lot of it just goes hand to hand. And I think it's, while we're here in the physical, it's dreaming is uh, is is to help us get ready for that transition. I know that sounds wild, but that's what I've come up with.
No, I mean it makes sense though. I mean it being, the different realms and stuff, it's going to be a wild out, actually crazy, not like crazy crazy, but some people would think it'd be crazy, but I mean you're going to have to, it's the imagination of, you're going to have to reach out there and stuff, but it makes sense. I mean, maybe that's why I was sitting there thinking about it. Maybe that's why, like when, like for me, I see like my grandfather alive and stuff like that. So maybe that's not, um, a different realm, different multiverse where like he's still alive. Maybe that's, me seeing, what I'm gonna get to see, once I get across there. I get to see him and, all my family together living in a big house, and it's, um, it makes sense and everything. Um, on our chat here, Matt Stiles said he's seen the loading screen after a dream, and he would wake up. And then let's see, we got what's up, Karen Carpenter and Raz. We got 23. Karen was talking about they have technology to hijack our dreams and natural abilities or interfere with them now. Uh, so she thinks a lot of technology is actually trying to mimic our natural abilities.
Yeah, it's like, I believe that. Or they try to put subliminal messages they can, because like you were saying, like you used to, like you fall asleep and you would integrate what's on TV into your dream. And like with Wi-Fi, they can send signals and certain information, all kinds of information, picture. Like, the internet's on the Wi-Fi, and if you, why couldn't you integrate what's in the Wi-Fi into your dream? Because it's just a frequency, and to get into the dream realm, you go into the delta brainwave, which is a frequency. If I remember correct, it's like point hertz to 2 hertz. So if they hit that bandwidth, like with technology, and they want to send you a message, and they know when you're about to go to sleep or hit REM sleep, and they just bombard where you're at with that frequency of hertz with the message on it, I could easily see a message or whatever they have in that bandwidth being integrated into your dream, and you would just think you're just dreaming it, and you could believe it or whatever. If yeah, so I agree with that totally. And then with who said they saw the loading screen and then woke up? Who said that?
Matt's Owl, Mr. Temple
Oh,
the Owl.
it's funny. Okay, because been a lot of times after I've gotten out of a lucid dream or even a dream, I'll see like credits, like people's names, like written by. And I remember there was one name I remember was Nick. It was Nick Green, and I actually looked it up on Google. And like, is this a real person? But I couldn't find anything. But I was like, why the hell is my brain one showing like credits, ending credits, like written by or whatever, and why? And how did it come up with like this name? So I don't know. That's just wild, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's see. I'm trying to read the chat, and Mr. Michael Strange is in the chat. He said the Ouija is a combination of the French and German words of yes. He said more fun facts to add to the sweet spot. We got to make sure the sweet spot is fully data info. And Karen Carpenter was saying, talking about her near-death experiences, one of her favorite topics. You know, if he had any experiences or he knew any stories, if you'd like to describe one. Also, if you look at it, should be in the link in the description. If not, just let me know. If anybody else wants to pop up and tell stories or anything like that, this is kind of a thrown together. Me and Shane were talking in the Discord and like, well, let's do it. You know, so if anybody else wants to pop up, I know Herschel tried to, but he was having troubles. But if anybody wants to, just click the link in the description and pop up. Make sure your browser is updated if you're using a browser on your computer. I use Riverside, and it's kind of funny. It's quirky a little bit on that part, but everything else it works really well. What's up, Monique? I see you popped in, dropping some Bible verses in there.
I wonder why the Ouija board, like Mr. Strange said, it was a combination of two languages meaning yes. I wonder why that is. Because I know, obviously, I remember he just had that show about like names and words basically have meaning and power behind them. So I wonder if anybody in the chat could enlighten me at least about why did they choose that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, me too. It'd be enlightening me too, also. Because I sure don't know. I did one little thing. I was wondering this the other day, speaking of like noises and stuff like that, when you were going on. I forgot I was reading the chat and got ADD. But I was wondering, like, because like since I got this building where I got the podcast and everything I've got going on. Oh, I hit that stupid thing. I have a new camera, and I could give it hand signals. I forget what the other hand signal is. Make it go. I don't know. But I can make it move on its own, and I forget what they are. And I like to talk with my hands, so. Yeah. Oops.
It's all moving left and right.
Yeah,
Just normally talking.
now it's moving on its own, trying to go back where I don't want it at. Whatever, you stay right there. What is going on here?
And the creepy part is you're not moving your hands.
Now I'm not moving my hands. Yeah. Oh, there. No, it's moving on. Where do we got going on here?
Well, I could give the short version of one of my near-death experiences that I had that's really stuck with me.
Yeah, that'd be
and
awesome.
it was during my coma, and it I what I remember is all of a sudden I'm in this house, and this house that I don't recall, like I don't remember it, it being, because it looked different, and this was before I really got this was before I started lucid dreaming and getting into all of that and like the consciousness, and this was back in 2020, January 2020, literally like a week before COVID hit the United States. And none of this was on my radar about, like, I knew about near death because I've heard of it, but never looked into it. Never looked into lucid dreaming. Never looked into astral projection. None of that. Barely even looked into consciousness. I was just doing the grind, you know. And but I remember all of a sudden I was in this uh beautiful house with wooden floors, and I could to the right of my body, I started feeling this intense heat. And I remember looking to the right, which was a fireplace. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, because it was like it was just raging fire, and I could feel the heat coming off of it. And I remember looking down, and it was like this beautiful wooden floor. And my sister ran by, but she wasn't. She was younger, and for some reason she had like pink, and like half her hair was pink and half was black. I don't know why. It was pretty weird. But she's not like that. But I remember her. She like ran by, and then I started chasing her, and then I realized it was like Christmas time. And then I remember going up the stairs, kind of exploring the house, finding like my bedroom and uh her bedroom, and then my parents' bedroom, then going back down the stairs, and I'm on the staircase looking forward, and I can see the front door. And then all of a sudden, I got this feeling like this, what's beyond that door, don't go. And so I, for some reason, I was like, you know what? I'm going to check it out. So I went and opened the front door. And what I opened up to the door, it was like a black void, what I was looking at. And what I stepped on was like, you know, the brownstone uh houses like in New York. You've seen those, I'm
Mm.
guessing, right? Like in
Yeah.
pictures or in real life, maybe.
Hmm.
And that's what I was like. How to explain this? What I like, where I was standing on the porch was brownstones, and if I looked down to like the left, just pure left and right was a row of brownstones. But if I looked in front of me was a black void, and then a voice was saying is I remember saying, if you are ready, go ahead and walk into the void, and it'll be okay. But if you're not ready, go back in the house. And I remember standing there, which felt, man, it felt forever. And uh for some reason, because I've had a lot of medical issues since I was a teenager, been in and out of hospital, really sick, and it wears on you, like mentally and all of that. And there's been a few times where I've I've given up, and like I just like wanted it to end. And at this moment I was like, all right, I was ready to walk into the void, and I started walking into it. And I remember stepping into it with um my left leg, and I started feeling this. It started from like my toes crawling up my leg, but this warm, tingly, beautiful bliss sensation. And so I kept going, but then all of a sudden something grabbed my shoulders and ripped me back into the house. And then I remember hearing and seeing the door shut. And then I remember waking up seeing like a bunch of doctors and nurses, and they just got done defibrillating me. And I remember hearing they're like, "Oh, that was a close one." And now the, I can't 100% for sure say that was a near death, but I feel it in my being that if it that was a near death, and if I would have actually been able to envelop my entire body or walk into that void, I wouldn't be here.
Wow, that's
So
amazing. That's amazing. I've never had any. I've had some close calls where I should be splatto, but um, and not here. I've had several, but I've never had like a near. I never had a near death, experience where like, anything like that, or going towards the light, or any of those. It was Karen said that's a what an amazing experience. She said thank you for sharing, Shane. Um,
you're welcome.
um, yeah, yeah, I never had anything like that. I've had, like I said, I've come close of kicking the bucket a few times where um, my mom calls it, just having guardian angels watch over me, because I've come so close so many times. Like I hit, like I was driving. I had two full time jobs at one time when I was 19. I thought I was doing good. I was trying to work hard and um,
Making that money.
making money, but I wasn't making nothing. I really wasn't after really looked at it. Um, but I turned around and I was on my way home and I did everything I was supposed to do. You're supposed to, other than pull over and take you a nap. I rolled the windows down. I had the cold air hitting me. I had the radio all the way up, and that's when I learned now when my body. Uh, it's been like that since I was a kid. Like once my body hits to a certain point, it just shuts down and it shuts off. Once I get so tired, I used to do that when I was a little kid. Mom and dad like telling stories about it. I'd be running around the house full blast, and then, pow, and I just fall out, just hit the floor, and pass out. And they would just put a blanket over me and leave me alone and let me sleep where the hell I lay because if they woke me up, I was a angry little redheaded little monster, and started trying to tear stuff up. But they just let me sleep wherever
I,
I slept. But I,
you're a redhead. I knew
yeah.
something was up.
Yeah, not anymore. I got the gray and white hair now, but yeah, I still got the freckles to show that I was a true ginger at one time in my life. But I did. I fell asleep and
Ah,
I had a tree about over like 45, 50 miles an hour, and I buckled everything on that truck. I broke the steering wheel with my forearm. I broke the dash of my legs. I hit the windshield with my head. I broke my leg. One leg hit the side little center console coming down, and I knocked the radio. It hit so hard, I knocked the radio out. It was a factory radio, but I still knocked that thing out. And there was nothing on that truck that wasn't bent. Even the back where the bed was, it hit so hard it buckled the bed. It buckled the roof. It buckled everything. And and I walked away from it. Uh, I got some crooked teeth for it. That's about mostly what I got out of it. And I never forget that. I got out and I was all kind of like, man, what the hell? My truck, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, man, how am I standing here? I'm like looking at it. Um, and so they thought the paramedics thought I was in shock. And that was back, 20 something years ago. I didn't have no cell phone. Hell, I didn't have no money like that to have a cell phone. I remember a couple came up and like, they're like, can we, yeah, what can we do? I was like, well, call my dad. I was like, I don't want my mom here. Call my dad. Tell him to come here. Because I knew mom would have a heart attack. And dad actually said later, he's like, I wasn't doing well, son. Because when he got there, my face was crimson. I was just blood everywhere, all over my face. So, and I didn't even know it. I couldn't even feel it. And I remember another couple came up. A couple went and they went down to the gas station that was a couple miles down the road, use a payphone, and then the guy came up. He was more well to do. He actually had a car phone, and he called 911 and got people coming to help me and stuff. And they thought I was in shock because I was calm, and I was like, I just calmed down. I realized I shouldn't be standing here right now. This truck is absolutely buckled to hell, and I shouldn't be standing here. There were no airbags. There was nothing like that. It was an old truck, but and I was still there, and um, I had that happen. I had a night I shouldn't been drinking, and I drove through a tree and hit another tree. Literally, swear to everything. Um,
You like trees?
yeah, I like trees. They're my friends. And it actually pushed the whole pastures. The second tree I hit a small tree, then I hit a bigger tree, and it pushed the whole pasture side of my car all the way up to the firewall. And I walked home, and walked like 2 miles to my parents' house, or 3 miles, and I got a scar on my cheek for that one. And I came back. I remember the cop was like, "Man, what you left the scene? I'm gonna have to arrest you for leaving the scene." I said, "I had to get help." I said, "My phone was dead." Like, all right. And they sent me to the hospital, get stitched up, and that's when I realized my blood alcohol level was still above the legal limit, even though been hours later, being an idiot. But just and my mom, funny story on that. My mom had gave me these. She likes to give me these little visor clips you put on your visor for to block the sun, whatever. But you put it on there. It says, "Don't drive faster than your guardian angel can fly," and that one right there disappeared. We never did find that pin, so we figured that I lost that guardian angel. He went on to another one, or well, his mom had to get me another pin
He
for.
got tired of.
Yeah, he got tired of messing with
He
me.
got tired of you.
Yeah, he got tired and went on down the road to another one. But yeah, I've like I said, I've never had like you know like stuff like that. I shouldn't be walking around. Like I shouldn't be able to move around like I can. There's been a lot of people gone with a whole lot worse than I've been through on that. But I've never had that actual near death, like um, looking over me, kind of thing at the hospital or something like that. Thankfully, not that I want that, but thankfully I haven't had that. But that was an amazing story. Yeah, Karen, I
Where
got
so
some
you
extra watching me.
Yeah, you definitely do. So that first one, you fell asleep and you
Mhm.
you just woke up. You're like, you did you wake up while you were like the truck was in the middle of you know as you were hitting the tree or afterward?
Like
And you woke
when
up and
afterwards, as soon as after the crash, it woke me up. I remember I remember reaching up. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I reached up and I grabbed a key and I cranked my truck up. And of course, the fan blade was just eating the radiator in half because it was just shoved all in there. And I was, and I'm like, what in the world happened here? What is going on? Because I just completely, when it's, when I get tired enough, I'm out. Just, I'm gone. You can probably beat me with a bat if you want to, but woke me that woke me up after the wreck, and that's what happened with the other one. I woke up afterwards, and I remember there's a road. It runs right along the interstate. It's straight. People used to drag race on it and stuff back in the day. But right at the very end is a big curve, and and last thing I remember, I was coming up on that curve, and then I just fell asleep, and I was out, and bam, and then I don't even remember walking up
wow.
that hill. It was a big hill right there where I it's one of them things I've had a bunch of stuff in my life. I wish there was like somehow I could have like a drone or camera or something watching me because I know I hit some air and I know it probably looked like the Dukes of Hazzard right there. I probably had a General Lee jump through them trees and Like I said, I took out a small tree and then I hit a bigger one and walked home.
I would say you're lucky.
there's a reason I'm
Super
here.
lucky.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm here. For some reason, I'm still kicking and so you know, no doubt about it. I do deep down.
But a lot of times, yeah, a lot of times it's like, but why am I still here? Like a lot of people ask,
I do.
that's,
I have.
I think that's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, I mean, especially that you see,
It's,
so many loved ones or somebody, your friends or something like I've had several like people around my age pass away lately, and it's like, why are they gone and not me? And um, it's one of them things. Is thanks, Shadow, appreciate you. And it's one of them things. Is just it's I just to keep myself from going absolutely insane is I just there's a purpose and I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be there's something I'm supposed to do and maybe um which I would I teach the martial arts and stuff like that and maybe part of that's maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I believe I'm supposed to be doing that for sure, no doubt. Um and maybe stuff like this. Maybe maybe I'm supposed to be doing the podcasting and stuff. I met a lot of amazing people doing this, and got to bring lots of people together that maybe wouldn't have in the first place. It's um, maybe that's part of one of the reasons I'm still here. And more to come, I'm sure.
most definitely. I mean, look at Colonel Sanders. He was like 60 or 70 when he started his KFC and got famous and known. So you never know when something can take off, and your reasoning for you to be here can come clear.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know,
Yeah, a lot of them. Ford, Henry Ford. He didn't start making Ford cars until the 40. He was in his 40s, like 19. He was 40 or 41, something like that. Yeah, Colonel Sanders. He didn't finally get to do something until he was in his 60s. I mean, there's a lot of people throughout history like that, like later in life, um, that actually that what they're truly known for. So maybe I'm right there with them. Hey, you never know. I don't know. I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying the process and all that, and I'm thankful I'm still here kicking.
kicking A and taking names. What martial arts do you teach?
Um, I st- I teach. I'm a black belt in jujitsu, and then I have MMA fighters and stuff like that. So we go like boxing, kickboxing. I've been very blessed over my years of uh, I've got to work with a lot of great people, and I tell everybody I stole stuff from everybody. I've got to work with
Well,
some
that's a
really
big.
great,
That's
really great judo black belts. I've trained and with great Krav Maga instructors and black belts and helped with testing. I've got the um, wrestling coaches. I've got to work with them. You know, boxing pro boxers. I've got to work with them. So I mean, it's like I've got to work with so many. I even got to train with Bill Superfoot Wallace before. Um, and Hoist actually gave me my blue belt. Hoist Gracie gave me my blue belt, and I got to train with Superfoot several years ago. That was pretty awesome. Um, for the ones that don't know, he's back in the early 70s before Chuck Norris. He was the middleweight undefeated kickboxing champion, and he had one bad knee, and so he only kicked with one leg. He was still amazing. Um,
that's
it,
wild.
yeah, he knew what they knew what he was going to do, and he still did it no matter what because he was that damn good. And he still to this day in his 80s can do the splits with ease. It's amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was sitting there going wow because it was I was at it was a double seminar. It was Superfoot Wallace and Laborio, who's over the jiu-jitsu over the America top team, and he's really good on jiu-jitsu side. And so and I was there for both of them, so, truly. But there was a bunch of guys and gals and stuff showed up, for the karate and kickboxing for Superfoot, and it was so funny watching these guys that, uh, you know, and he was making everybody look funny. I can't do a splits either. I've never been, even when I was doing karate when I was a teenager, I could never. I got super tight hamstrings, and I ain't never been able to stretch them out to stretch every day. I still stretch every day. It don't matter. Um, but uh, but yeah, it was amazing to see that 80-something-year-old man sitting there going, just sitting there and like, ha ha, look, and just laughing at people like, come on, y'all get down lower, just messing with them.
Yeah.
And still,
Yo, what the hell's going on?
yeah, still kick super high. Just amazing. It was, I'm really blessed that what I've been able to do, and I've got the corner fights for bare knuckle fights and MMA fights and boxing fights all over the country, and still to this day. So it's been a fun journey, and I'm still
Did you corner or anything with like on the professional level, like UFC, Bellator, or anything like that?
I haven't on Bellator or UFC yet. Lots of LFA, which is pretty big. It's right there below the UFC, and um, BKFC,
I've heard of it.
bare knuckle fighting. I've cornered, and then there's another BYB. It's right below BKFC. Is another bare knuckle, but that's the goal. I got some guys there. That's what their goal is, to get up UFC. So we're trying to get them there, and so hopefully next year or two, I'll be able to come back and say, yeah, I got to be on the big show. Like a friend of mine, he's Bryce Mitchell. He's a UFC fighter, and I know
I've heard of him.
yeah,
I've heard of him.
Yeah, Bryce got cojones, I tell you what. But he was amazing. He was over there in Abu Dhabi and actually was quoting scripture after he won his fight in the cage.
I do remember he got some heat for something he said a few months ago. I do remember that.
Yeah,
which I won't repeat. But
yeah, that's not.
But people are too sensitive. A lot of people are too sensitive. But I've heard of
one name. Yeah, you say one name, and everybody goes sideways with it. Especially if you got any kind of name recognition. But he was. I seen the context of how he is, and knowing him and actually training with him, I understand what he was trying to say, but you just can't say what he said. You can't say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good dude. He's country B, and like his, I'll train with his coach, and I've trained with him before, and it's pretty cool. So that's my goal, trying to get some of my guys and up there and to the big show, and might see me on TV hopefully soon. I didn't get to see Gaston.
What?
Let me read Gaston's comment real quick. It's funny. He said, Ricky Brush, that's more than a brush. You were clapping and doing a secret handshake with the universe at that point.
Okay, can you read that again? You kind of broke up a little bit.
He said that I was, when I was telling my stories about, what my brushes with death, I guess. He said that was more than a brush. You were clapping and dapping and doing the secret handshake with the universe at that point.
Yeah, you were playing paper, rock, scissors, and you won.
Yeah.
Oh, that's. I mean, see, that's what I was kind of saying is when you fall asleep, I think our consciousness goes somewhere because, like, you think about it, like, you didn't. I mean, you got hurt, but like, you could have gotten way more hurt, but your body was completely. When you're sleeping, it's like limp. Your body goes paralyzed. So, and I've experienced like the body going limp with consciously inducing like my dreams, and but yeah, it's there's something there that I'm so intrigued about, and I'm also kind of super intrigued that how detailed and um our subconscious is, like how creative it is in dreams. I don't know if you've ever thought about it, like how much detail your dream actually gives you, like down to the smallest detail to the biggest detail. I don't know if you've ever thought about it, or if one of these days think about it, and like think about like if you can remember your dream, like the details in it. It's like, one, when I'm conscious, I'm not even close to that to that creative. So where does that come from? And like how does our subconscious create that? Now it makes me think, is it our subconscious creating it, or like what you said earlier, is it a different realm and we're actually somewhere else, and this is actually like a actual building that our consciousness can explore. So I don't know. It's I don't know. It fascinates me. That whole realm fascinates me, and I think it's where the spirits hang out. Where even if you're playing with the Ouija board, that's, if not one of the realms you can touch into. And like like you were talking about your dream you had with that entity James, where the second night he went into your dream, where it can easily communicate with you easier. And I think it's because you both are in that same frequency where you can communicate. If you think about it, if I'm on a different frequency, like a radio station, you have to be on the right frequency on that radio station to hear it clearly. But if you're just a little off, you can hear it, but it's fuzzy. So I, I don't know. I kind of went on a tangent. Sorry.
No, no, you're good. No, that's no, that's good. No, I can see. Yeah, it really, the whole thing really, puzzles me too, and it has curiosity. Like I said, um I've wondered a lot of this stuff for so many years, and I've really just kind of repressed it and put it back. Like, man, I get, if I ask anybody this stuff, they're gonna think I'm, you know, I need to be locked up or something, for even asking about it. And um, that's why I'm thankful for Michael Strange and the Troubled Minds family of, that is, open the door to so many people that, like, hey, we're, uh, you're not crazy. There's a lot of things that, are unexplainable. And I think there's a lot of things that, deep down, we truly won't know until we do get to like the other side. Is we're not meant to know everything. We're only meant to know what we're supposed to know. And that don't mean you don't supposed to go out and seek and look, but we're uh, once we get to a certain point where we can actually, verify stuff, is, we're going to be on the other side, and, when we get there. But yeah, I really do kind of thinking it, like it's another realm, or I hear like with the comic book movies and stuff like that, with multiverse and stuff like that. It's and you hear people talk about that, kind of a parallel, and that's maybe during, that the possibilities of, when you do can have like them lucid dreams that you're, like the ones I was talking about earlier. I was seeing my family in a different house, and just that's when the times that the two realms are close together and they're kind of intermingling, and maybe that's uh, also that what affects, you hear people talk about the uh, doggone it, I'm just brain tooted. um, I can see the words, I can see them, but where everything's, like with the Bernstein Bears, and with this alternative,
Mandela effect.
yes, there you go. There's the word. I'm just lost it. Yeah, the Mandela effect. And maybe that explains maybe some of the Mandela effect. Maybe, and you hear some people talk that maybe we're sweeping back and forth in just a weird, just absolutely mind blowing thing. What if we're now right now is we're in the dream state now, and actually that's why everything that's funny over here. It's because we're actually awake in the other kind of place. I wonder, this possibilities of random stuff in my head. Uh,
I
I
thought of
just,
that too. Like,
yeah,
is this the dream world, and if that's the real world? That's you're not alone on that branch. I'll tell you that.
that's good. That's good to know. I'm not hanging out there alone, and and it's like that's to me. Like for the Mandela effect, is that's one side, or is it just or is it just like certain people just messing with us, and but seeing what they can do and see what they can change, and we know that like right now that there's certain words, like if they don't use certain words, that they don't even pop up in algorithms, and actually there it's going to be a lot of words are going to be like dead, completely dead, because in a few more years. And so maybe it's the initial, um I'll say initial, but uh, they're actually trying to put this and push these, and to see if we can, on just a conspiracy tinfoil hat, they're doing just to mess with us, so like, hey, we if we got you guessing about Bernstein Bears and um and underwear logos, um when we actually do put real stuff out there, it don't look right, then you know, you might just chalk it up to, a second guessed it and think, well, maybe it's just part of the Mandela effect. It's not, you know, I kind of lean that side too. Maybe it's people messing with us, or would it be, supernatural? You know, we're in a different realms. We're actually in the dream realm, and when we wake up, that's when we're on the other side. I mean, makes me wonder, but just questions like
Uh,
no answers like Mike
yeah.
says all the time. Just questions and no answers here for sure.
Well, there's like you brought up like the words and stuff. The one thing I don't know, like, when I was younger, I remember when people would talk, when they would say the word later, later, and in a sentence like uh later tonight or whatever. And nowadays, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you don't really hear that word anymore. They say ladder, and it's like, when did that switch? Like, because I always, even like when I talk, I never say ladder, but like I hear on like podcasts or even the media, they'll say they pick the later one or the latter one, and I don't know. Have you heard that 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 switch of terminology?
Yes, there's yeah, they have, and there's a lot of that's a lot of words, and for what reason? What I mean, I don't know. It's are they? I mean, one to the other don't sound like it ain't making you sound more smarter if you use one or the other. So I don't know why they would use latter to later, or but I have heard it. Yes, I have heard it. It's some of the how they word and things. It's and maybe again in my tinfoil hat brain, it's just it's more messing with us. Just they saying things to see what they can get away with. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many questions. It's just I, I would like some answers. Uh, and less of the tomfoolery of. And I think it's a lot. I feel it's a lot of it's done on purpose. And some of them may say like we can't handle. You can't handle the truth, or you can't handle this. But I think majority of people can't. Yeah, there's going to be that handful of people that may not be able to handle what's really happening. But I personally believe that there will be a period of time when, if like say like disclosure, or we actually are figure out or told the dream realm and the is a completely different reality. I think there will be a period of time where people's minds are going to be blown, and even like religion and will be kind of messed up a little bit. But humans, humanity is strong. They're resistant, and I think they'll be able to correct the course, if that makes sense. It's just I, I just want to know why the tomfoolery, why the like you're saying, why messing with us? Like what's the end game to it? What are they hiding?
That's my biggest. Always one of my biggest question on a lot. Like some of that stuff. What is truly the point of it? Why are they doing some of the things? And um, I've been digging in a bunch of um, old projects and stuff like that. I've gotten on a tangent on that, and so I've done a bunch of like shorts and stuff like that on my channel. But some of the stuff they've done is like, man, what is the point of that? Why would you would even think of doing some of the things they done? And you know I don't know, it's they they and but a lot of people do a lot of things that makes no sense to us, and that but it in their brain it's good as gold.
It's crystal clear.
It's absolute crystal clear. Like, oh yeah, this this is great. And um like the lady with the Cracker Barrel logo. This is going to be great. It's going to be awesome. The people love it, and no, nobody loved it. Everybody hated it. So it's that delusions. Certain people have certain delusions of um, we got we have people that are putting into their self in power of and messing with things that I really don't think they should be messing with. Like you know where they're trying to darken the
like
sun, and putting clouds up there, and and making all this crazy stuff, fake, absolutely fake butter made out of petroleum, and all the wild stuff that they got going on right now. It's just
Wait, the butter that Bill Gates
yeah,
made is
yeah.
made out of petroleum.
I think it's made out of petroleum. Let me look that up. I might have. Let me make sure.
Well, what's crazy is like the Beyond Meat, the fake meat, anything that comes out of the lab can't be good for you compared to natural, like butter that you can turn from a cow, or like a sheep, from milk, like because it's so processed, so many chemicals, it's all artificial, and our bodies aren't made to consume and digest that that fake stuff.
Mm-mm.
So that, well, I guess was it last year, maybe in 2023, Bill Gates was putting out. He was doing some to like vegetables and fruit to make them last longer, and I guess there was videos that went viral. They were calling them like rubber avocados and rubber watermelons and bananas, where like you couldn't cut them. They looked like beautifully ripe, and, like if you cut them in half, but you could bend it like a banana in half without it breaking. Or same with like the watermelon, cut a piece and but they were, I guess they taste very chemically, nothing like the fruit it was supposed to be. But yeah, and I even read that he wanted to, Bill Gates wanted to have cows stop farting. Like, who thinks of this stuff?
I posted a video just Wednesday night. I played a clip, and he was commenting on that. Either we need to do something, basically do away with the cows, or have a process where to keep them from, like, because 6% of CO2 is it's such a absolute just insane. They're all like, well, I'm worried about this CO2, but these same people are turning around and, they went down to Brazil and destroyed thousands of acres of rainforest to put a road in for the convention for global climate. Like, you're destroying the climate for y'all to fly in on your big jets. It's just hypocrisy at its best. And if you look at, you look at China and stuff. China don't give a damn about none of that stuff. They're letting the emissions roll, and they're building and doing whatever the hell they want to do. They don't care over there. And I was,
They're crazy.
yeah. And the other thing um, on that thought is, plus it's like it's a money it's a money scheme. That's all it is. The whole global climate. It sounds good. We want to make things right, and it sounds good. Like, yeah, I want cleaner water for the fish. I want a cleaner sky. We all do, but they're over here, having companies. Well, if you're really a polluting company, you can turn around in a company that's not as bad, or has a company has I know somebody has a bunch of land, and I asked him, I was like, if you're going to develop that land, he's like, no. He said, Ricky, I can plant trees on that land and sell tax credits and make more money off that land than I can ever develop that land. So he sells tax credits. So if you got a company that's polluting very much, he can sell them the tax credits, so they'll have to balance out their carbon footprint. So they get this green stuff going over here, and they're bad over here, darkness over here. We can balance it out where they're back legal. So they're still polluting. They're still just as bad, but because they have these tax credits, uh, you know,
It's okay.
it's okay. It's just a money laundry machine on top of everything else. You know, um,
Um, One thing it just randomly popped in my head because we're talking about the Mandela effect. Have you ever thought what other countries, like what, like say China, if or what their Mandela effects are?
I'm curious on that. Um, that curiosity has, like, I've never did a dive into it, but it has popped in my mind, and wondering, like, is it just us? And if we looked into that, and it's like, if it's just us, then we know it's the propaganda machine. We could actually verify that it's, if somebody actually, started digging in deep, if there's Mandela effects all over the world, like, okay, maybe it's the, multiverse parallel, we're, like we were talking about. But if it's only, in the United States is the only one with the Mandela effect, then yeah, we're getting fed a bunch of garbage, and our internet is getting manipulated to f with us, and so we could actually for sure know, um,
Do
but
you think
I'm
it's actually caused by CERN?
it
The
could be, it's I don't see the possibilities there for sure. I mean, it's another one of them things that they're messing with that they really have no idea what it would do, but I've said it on my podcast a bunch of times, and um, eh, I think scientists are the ones going to be the end of us. They're going to the ones that are actually going to take us out because they don't care. If you look back into a lot of the declassified um, projects and stuff, or just what our government's done, just over here, um, they dropped nuclear bombs inside of a cave down Mississippi. They did nuclear bomb up in the upper atmosphere, and it
Yeah,
EM,
that was Starfish Prime.
yeah, it EMP'd Hawaii. They released bacteria over San Francisco and made a lot of people sick. Their eyes, it's not enough, and of course, it was like 10 times worse than it could ever be. What they thought. Um, it's one thing after another. Project Cirrus, where they turn around and they start putting iodine um, in a hurricane, and they thought it was going to make it turn right and go out into the ocean because it was actually going by. You wasn't going to mess with nobody. It was just going to go back out to the open sea, but they messed with it, and it turned and went straight north and went straight through Georgia. Over and over again, scientists are just messing with this stuff that they have truly no idea what they're doing and how the consequences of their actions. And we're the ones that has to deal with what they're doing, and we're the ones we have to pay the price of them. Well, let's see what this does right here. Hey, you know,
Well, yeah, they could be opening doors to like different dimensions. It kind of makes me think of like a more high tech Ouija board. Like they don't know what they're like what they're messing with. They're just like, let's just put this in, boom, and see what happens. Right?
mhm.
Like I read, was it a month or so ago where CERN supposedly turned lead into gold. The particles. I don't know if you read that, which is they said it's not. You can't make money off of it because it's so minute. But I mean, like you said, these scientists are just like they roll the dice, right, and not know what the outcome could be, or even with uh, igniting the nuclear bombs in the atmosphere. They were told that it could it, uh, implode the atmosphere, like it could get rid of our atmosphere, just blow it up all around the world, and they're still like, let's roll the dice, let's do it. Like that's just irresponsibly crazy to me, and
Mhm.
I don't know. There's just been a lot of weird stuff happening. I don't know if there's been more sightings of UFOs, interdimensional beings now than there were 30 years ago, but it kind of seems like there is. And that could that be a product of CERN opening those doors or portals, or is it because the zeitgeist and people are thinking of it more, and it's manifesting because of like mass? I want to say mass. I don't know, like not necessarily mass consciousness, like everyone thinking of the same thing and manifesting it. I don't know, like, but I feel like there's more of it happening. I don't know what you feel about that, but that's how I see it.
It could be. It could be both. I mean, it could be a mass. Some of it is there's a lot of people talking about them. There's more people talk about it. But they could be opening up, you know, portals and allowing things into this in this world that, um, and maybe intentionally they are. Um, there's some evil people up in the upper uppers, and maybe they are trying to release, uh, evil things into the world. I believe, I truly believe deep down in my soul. I think they show in movies like what's really going on and kind of giving of us a general idea of what their plans are. Um, and because if you look back and watch movies, and I hate it, I hate this in my head now. I really do, because I love watching movies and I love sitting back and watching cool movies and stuff. And but like a lot of movies, I watch it with the skew and the mind that, okay, what else is what else are they trying to tell me here? What else is there? And um,
Like
maybe
read
even
between the lines.
right. I mean, even to the point of like one of my favorite movies of all time, like Ghostbusters, and they were talking about there was a group of people trying to bring in the world and open up a portal and bring in Gozer and stuff like that. Maybe it could be there's people that's really like that. I mean, we know for sure there's people that are trying to bring it in the world right now with all the red heifer stuff and over there in the Middle East. They're there's that's their goal. Um, is to bring in the end times. Once they build the third temple, and they've already sacrificed the red heifer and everything, so that's the beginning of it. That's that's a lot of their mind is that's what they want is to bring in, you know, um, and force this the second coming of Jesus, or or the actual first, if matters which side of of the religion side of it you are, if you're Jewish or Christian. But there's a lot of them working together and wanting as a whole, wanting to bring in the end times for that. Um, makes me wonder if there's other ones on different levels of evil stuff. Oh, what was that we got? And that's curiosity. What's up, Miss Karen? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Awesome. Hi, Shane. It's nice to hear you this evening. I agree with a lot of what you say, and you've got some really interesting perspectives.
Cool. I'm glad I'm not too woo woo.
No, I've been, I've been all those places. I mean, I've never had a near-death experience, and I've never really seen a ghost, but I have absolutely believe that we're in a small fraction of the uh, electromagnetic spectrum, like David Icke would say, that we're just tuned into a very small portion of what's going on multidimensionally and spiritually. So I think that there are beings and entities all around us, things all around us that we can't perceive through the frequencies that our eyes and ears and the regular physical senses can perceive. But we also have extrasensory perceptions, all of the clairs, like clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, all of those other abilities, which are also, I think, being tuned into frequencies, are opening those connections up, or those possibilities, and we can tune into all sorts of things. And I think that it's our natural birthright from God to actually have a lot of those abilities, and we're being blocked and shut down in a lot of ways. So that's how I look at it, but I don't usually share all of this
Well, I'm glad
in
you
my
are.
everyday world.
It's good to
But
have places where you can spread some talk about some of these things. It is a very important part of the world, and it's there. But like we were talking about, what me and Shane were talking about earlier, there is a taboo about it, and and a lot of people are scared to talk about this kind of stuff because we're want to be looked at like you're strange, or you're weird, or you're crazy, or just um and like I said, that's why I'm thankful. Like I said, with the Troubled Minds family and stuff, that if I met Shane and stuff, it's we there's a lot of people that's and there's no pretty no judge free zone kind of thing where you can actually talk about stuff that you just got questions. It's good to ask questions. That's what we're supposed to do. That's how we
Oh,
learn.
yeah, I think it's fascinating, and I mean, I don't wish dying on anybody, but a near-death experience, it sounds like a lot of people learn a lot and grow a lot from those. So I feel in a way that it could be a blessing. But I think it also can be very traumatic. But I think that people, from the accounts I've read, and I've read a lot of them, I've been fascinated with them for a long time, that it can be a really enriching experience and eye-opening. But then also people can have I mean, I think there's trouble for a lot of us fitting in this world, especially those of us who are more open-minded, because we are open-minded and we are open to possibilities and are curious. And it's not okay to be curious in a lot of ways in society.
No, they want you to just go with the flow of what they tell you, and don't question nothing. Just
Hmm.
do what they say, and you'll be happy. But I, my whole nature, I've always been my whole life is I've always asked questions, and I've upset a lot of people who are over them, like, even bosses and stuff. And I'm like, I would have to tell them, like, look, before when I first go work for them, whatever, I was like, look, uh, this is how I am. I'm gonna ask you questions. It's gonna piss you off. I'm just gonna say, but if I don't understand it completely, I'm gonna ask questions before I can understand completely. If I don't understand it, or it sounds funny, or something just ain't right in my mind, I'm gonna question it. And that's how, and sometimes they be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's cool, cool." And then until I start asking questions, they're like, just do it this way. I'm like, "No, we're not doing it this way. Answer my damn question, and I'll make them answer my question, But this is how
Were you
truly you're supposed to be able to learn,
Hmm.
and question the narrative, question everything.
Well, so many things don't make sense, or the story will change, or like we were talking, you guys were talking about how words have changed. I think they use words against us. They change the like they used to be UFOs and now they're UAPs, and I think they use those tactics to get and the way with changing the teams of names of sports teams, or uh, to crack a whole Cracker Barrel logo. And I think those things are used to keep us off balance and also to take away anchor points. We have anchor memories and anchor points that make us feel safe and familiar and nostalgic. And there are bearings and our moorings to who we are culturally and individually. And that's why when you lose somebody, or have a big trauma, lose a home or a flood, or lose a loved one, your mom or dad or spouse, you just feel completely adrift because you're losing one of those main anchor points to your personality, your identity, and your sense of what the world is. So I think they use language to keep us off balance, and these cultural symbols like Cracker Barrel to take one of those main anchor points that a lot of people had away. So I don't want to monopolize the conversation. You guys just continue.
No, I'm fascinated in what you're saying. I like your perspective and another perspective, so I'm enjoying it.
Okay. I wanted to say you guys were talking about the possibility of opening portals. And you probably heard of Geordie Rose, who had the D-Wave quantum computer. And years ago, I don't know, probably before COVID, in the before times. That's how the
Before the
before.
That's
BC.
funny.
It's the new BC.
Yeah.
Before COVID, that's good. BC before COVID. That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, in the before times. I mean, that to me, that just everything. I was already pretty well down a lot of rabbit holes before COVID, but I was shocked that they were doing things so quickly. I knew something like that was likely to happen, but I was shocked when everybody just fell in line. At any rate, years before COVID, Geordie Rose was talking about the quantum computer D-Wave and how they were calling in the old ones, OLDE, like the old ones, like gods or demons, spirits from other realms, that they were calling those in with D-Wave, the quantum computer. So I think that, and then some people say the God particle, which they're trying to find at CERN, is the soul. That's what makes us who we are, that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience, and I don't think there are too many people that would argue with that. I mean, I guess probably Elon Musk would, but or some of those people, but I think regular human beings like us would agree that we're spiritual beings in a physical vessel. So the God particle, or the thing that makes us alive, or that comes from God, is the spirit, the soul. So that may be what they're trying to create, is the soul, whatever the essence, the God particle is at CERN. So I don't know. It's just a thought. I'll
Well, yeah,
pause.
I wouldn't even know what would be the benefit of trying to discover the God particle. I think they even call it the Higgs boson. I might
Yeah,
be
they
wrong
do.
on that,
They do.
but
And go ahead.
no, yeah, I'm just saying I don't know what the benefit really would be. Like, you created a spirit or a consciousness. Now what? Like, uh,
Yeah,
you know,
It's the power of it. It's the power to
yeah.
say I did it. I have the power of God. I can control God, and you know, possibly if you look back, maybe it's all the way back to like where people, if for biblically back to like the Tower of Babel, where we were trying to bring it
Mhm.
and go up to heaven, and they were trying to build it up to the point where they could be up there with God. And so this is just another way of hey, we're humans, but we're going to show we can swing around and we can be God too. We can create this, we can
Mhm.
create life, we can change. That's why they're trying to bring back ancient animals that's extinct. Now they're trying to make these robots where they could actually, which is scary, make these robots to carry a baby, which
what?
got yeah,
You
yeah.
haven't. Oh,
There's two.
Shane, where have
Yeah,
you been?
yeah. There's. I know
I haven't heard
Elon's
that
building.
one.
Yeah, Elon's building one, and there's another one in China they're building where it's just a robot. You could a womb basically, and it can actually take the baby basically
Huh?
they inject the seed and the egg, sperm and the egg up inside the robot or whatever, and however they do it, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly the everything how they exactly, but that's their goal. And
I would think
what they're
they
going to
would
create
do
is
the
psychopaths,
do do the in vitro and then inject it into the artificial womb.
Mhm.
If you guys probably are familiar with some of the stories of Atlantis, and how Atlantis was doing these chimeras, and these very technologically advanced, and that eventually they basically destroyed themselves, and then some people survived are and have had some hidden knowledge, and are rebuilding civilization, and that we're based that we're and some people say that a lot of people that were alive in Atlantis have been reincarnated now, and we're that history is doing these huge cycles, and that's all I have no way of knowing if that's true, or not, or whatever. But I do think that we do go in cycles, and that I was raised in a Methodist church, and I saw a lot of contradictions early on with the the Bible, and then how the people at the church acted. So I would never really was a real good church goer, but the more I look at things, and the more I've learned, and longer I've lived, and the way things have turned, and event wise, it really does seem to me that it's good versus evil, that there are actually people or beings here that are trying to replace God, to wipe out everything organic. I do a podcast. Ricky's been on our podcast with my some good friends of mine, and Jason Barker and I did a podcast about fake everything, we called it. And my opinion about all of this is that they are absolutely trying to rule out and exterminate everything organic. They want everything to be GMO or to artificial in some way, to replace God's creation.
Mhm. They're using that's
A-
why
It
they
was
use
like,
CRISPR. They got that CRISPR they're
oh,
using to modify the humans, and uh,
Right, and they're in I think it's Belgium or somewhere in Europe. They're actually going to be required to feed their cows something that in their food that does reduce their farting. So they are feeding something to the cows in Europe, and the farmers are really worried because they feel like it's going to not be healthy for their kids and for people to eat, but they're going to be required to feed that to their animals. So these people are absolutely insane.
well, a lot of the elites that are like anti-human, I think they're afraid to die. Like you're saying, organic. We all physically die, and a lot of them are just. I think they're want the God complex, don't want to
Mhm.
die, and they're terrified of it, and they're
Yeah.
doing all they can within the power that they've accumulated to not die or even change vessels like they want to move consciousness into onto a hard drive, which I don't think we can. I think well it's very complex, and I think it's got to be a decision that the individual has to agree with. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, you can't just, like, I want grandma on the hard drive, and she's,
Mhm.
she's passing away, but that person entity have to agree to that transformation or switch, which I don't think a lot of people are going to be down with that, but it's just, uh, yeah, I agree with what you said. They want to get rid of the organic life or the organic way of our physical being, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that also once you get I think a huge part of our spirituality is the connection to nature and to well we are the human resonance that the earth has that we feel most calm and peaceful when we're in that frequency. What is it, 7.8 hertz or something like that? And the human resonance has really, really been ramped up, and a lot of people think it's from CERN and from the HARP type installations that are all over the earth that they're changing the basic frequency of the earth. And so I think we see a lot of people who are really disconnected or scatterbrained, brain fog, and those types of things. And to me, I think that may even stem back to the change in the frequency of the earth. And so if they can disconnect us from that and from nature, from being grounded and being in the frequency that we were meant to be in, I think that they can do a lot to
yeah,
disconnect us.
I'll say that's why possibly why they changed like the frequency of the music. They
Uh-huh.
they took out the bells for the frequency and stuff like that, and then using shoes and stuff for like you were saying, talk about grounding to the earth, and
Mhm.
pushing more for you got to wear these shoes, you got to wear these cool shoes, you got to do this, and then you turn around and like we're losing that absolute connection. And what they're messing with with CRISPR, and they're messing with things. They're trying to make everything, and some of it I just don't understand. It's like, man, these unless they're just getting a absolute like different material or different food, or if they're feeding themselves the same garbage that they're just like, what, why are you trying to make yourself sick? I don't understand that. But
I
um
thought of that too. Like,
uh,
you put
yeah,
all that crap in our food. Are you eating it too?
I
Like,
don't think they
because
are.
yeah,
I,
it's
I
like because it's going to do the same thing to you that it does to us. So,
right.
like,
unless they're lizards.
And well,
right?
they say that the tech bros, the tech people don't let their kids have iPads and cell phones at a young age, and I'm sure they don't vaccinate them. They probably eat all organic food. They probably have great air filters on their houses and buildings and EMF shielding or whatever. And then I think they also have technologies and things they consume that help keep them young. I know Peter Thiel was out front about using blood products from young people. He would have transfusions and things, and so I think that they do things that we don't do to try to maintain some of their youth. But I don't, and I agree with what you're saying, Shane. And at least I hope so. I hold on to that hope that we have to agree to give up our soul. And I was listening to Dr. Juliet Engel. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Have you heard of Kathy O'Brien, the woman who wrote Transformation of America, the MK Ultra survivor, Kathy O'Brien?
Yeah, I have. I had never read the book, but
Okay, well, this Juliet Engel had a similar experience to Kathy O'Brien, but she was one of the first. She went into the MK Ultra program in the 50s when it was established, and her family helped establish the program. And she says, and so she was a victim as a child, and she was even in Laurel Canyon. If you're familiar with Dave McGowan's work, where it scenes inside the canyon, she was one of the girls who was in a backup band with Charles Manson, and she was in that whole scene, that whole culture, the LSD, the hippie scene, where they were using that to hijack the music industry. And at any rate, she said that when she was being programmed as a child, that the goal was to get the kids to give up their soul. They would torture them to the point where they would hope they would give up their soul, and that she would never do that, but that you had to give it up. They couldn't take it. You had to give it up. So I hope you're right about that.
me too. Well, that's why I need to read that book. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's a Transformation of America. Is the one that Kathy O'Brien wrote, and it's horrible. And she names a lot of names, but Juliet Engel has just come out with her story in the last few years and done a lot of interviews, and it's really interesting. And I'm coming to the conclusion that, and I've said this a few times to my friends and on different podcasts, that I think that we all wonder why people aren't making sense. The people in charge are just doing things that, well, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. would be a great example. He's done fantastic work throughout his life. I followed him before times, before COVID, and his work with vaccines, and he was doing, and glyphosate, and he was just doing amazing things. And I know people who know him who say he was just really compassionate and great with injured people, vaccine injured people, or just really, they've seen him do amazing acts of compassion. But then now he seems to have betrayed us and to be doing things that we, just don't make sense. But he's from a generational bloodline family. His family was in the spotlight. His uncle and his dad, his cousin John F. Kennedy Jr., his plane crash, and there a lot of suspicious circumstances even around that plane crash. And so I think that these families go through the generational abuse, and they're programmed as kids. And there's a good chance that most of the people that we see in power, that they've been programmed in their childhood.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that plane crash brought us and gave us Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when that happened, and that was, what a shame that was. Yeah, and they would say that he was bound and determined to get the truth out there about who killed his father. So yeah. So I think that these people that act unexpectedly or seem to be so controlled or promise things and don't deliver, they're in a real bind as far as control files and threats to themselves and their families. But I also think that many of them went through trauma-based mind control as children. I think it's a lot more common than we think it is, and including all of us through events like 9/11 and things on the television program. The television's a weapon, and it was always meant to be used as a weapon. And if you just think of the language, that you're watching television programs, on a channel. So I think there's a lot more to that than we think.
Well, like mind control, right? Like your MK Ultra, but like back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, probably even still today, like just normal movies that you would go see in the theater. They would have the subliminal messages of like buy popcorn
Mm-hmm.
and like or you're thirsty, go get a soda, and you won't actually see that message, but it'd be hidden within like the credits or within the movie or before the movie. And they've been doing that, and that's just like just to buy crap. Buy some
It's very,
popcorn.
very, very basic. My dad was a high school teacher for, I think he started in 1964 and he retired in like 1995. And he was an English teacher. There's a plane going over low, or a helicopter.
They're looking for you.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about on this podcast? Don't tell our secrets.
Actually, there's probably a fire nearby up in the foothills. We've had a quote unquote wildfire nearby for quite a while now. Anyway, my dad taught a unit back in the 70s on subliminal advertising, how they'd have like naked women in the ice cubes in the whiskey commercials or the whiskey ads in magazines, you probably heard about Disney having things in some of their cartoons.
Oh, like the sexual
Yeah,
innuendos and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You can find those on like YouTube. It's wild what they
yeah,
snuck in.
And the
Crazy.
propaganda too, from like World War I, World War II. Even the
yeah,
cartoons had its propaganda. I mean, there's like video, Donald Duck, doing the Hitler thing, saluting, and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's
yeah,
wild when you start digging. If you dig into that rabbit hole, especially like for World War II, it was so many companies was actually
yeah,
um, supporting Germany. Like Ford, like Ford didn't want to build anything for, and GM got their plants rebuilt over there. They got paid because they got bombed. Standard Oil was paying, and it was so many. There's so many companies they're easy to look up. You can see, and then you had all
They
the
were double
conspiracies.
dipping.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Always, we've been double dipping on everything for last 200 years, guaranteed. That we for sure know about.
And the basis of the trauma-based mind control goes back. That's in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, I think. So that's from the Egyptian times. They hadn't taught you how to traumatize a child and dissociate them and cause dissociated personalities. They were doing that in Egypt. So
Yeah,
they're very advanced, and I think it's more technological now. It's more of a touchless type torture in a lot of cases. Like you guys were talking about how Shane was talking about how there are different frequencies and how they could. Well, there's voice to skull technology, but I was listening to a whistleblower last night who worked on a lot of those programs, and he said that they can actually hijack your dreams and a lot of things that we don't we don't realize or we don't want to know about. So it's all
Well,
very
I
scary.
believe, yeah, like you're saying, like everything is like has a frequency, and if we can
Mhm.
figure it out, like if I can figure out your personal frequency, like your dream
Yeah.
frequency, I could actually, I feel that if I could tune my brain to your personal frequency, I could actually, we could dream share, have the same dream, be in the same dream, communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Also, feel that's the same with like the spirit realm.
Hmm.
If we can switch our brain to that certain frequency that they're there, like where they're at, you can communicate, you can possibly see them, all of that. So that's one of my big things I've come up with studying a lot of this is the frequency. And obviously the government and some of like the black projects, they've spent decades learning and figuring out the frequencies of humans and hijacking our brains, like dreams, thoughts, because they even have like not even hijacking our dreams, but your thoughts. Like uh, I don't remember what war it was, but they wanted to uh basically send out frequency to the enemy where they would think they were getting messages from their god
I
to
think
like
it was the
surrender and
Iraq.
not fight.
I think Iraq War. I think they used the voice of God on the Iraqis.
Well, I know
Yeah,
during
well,
I know during like Vietnam, there was Operation Wandering Soul, where they were actually projecting ghostly voices and messing with people, trying to make them think they were hearing ghosts in the woods to
Oh,
drive them
brother.
crazy. And they actually did in the Philippines when they were battling the hook. They they actually, because they believed there was local folklore, there was a blood sucking shape shifting monster. So what they did, the CIA did, they turned around and uh, captured people, and then they would stab two holes in their neck like fang marks and drain all the blood and dump the body on a trail for people to find, like, oh my god, a vampire just killed
Yeah.
this soldier, and they exploited a lot of that um, for sure. It's like I said, I've done a lot of more and more of the projects and stuff. It's crazy. The more you dig into there. I was looking for my notes here. Right as y'all talking about that, I had the notes of that stuff. It wasn't that long ago. I found some of that stuff out about. I got so many notes on here.
So do you think they're doing the military's doing the cattle mutilations and things?
Yeah, I know the Y Files just came out with a show, and was talking about down in Peru. There was it was just kind of like the similar thing. They had a theory about these you know uh, they would how did
the
they
face eaters or
the
whatever.
face eaters,
Are
yeah,
you
the
talking about?
face eaters, yeah, the face eaters, and one girl actually got away and was able to escape, and but she was like, it sounded like American and it sounded like a local, and so there was speculation that there was them actually trying out why are they cutting these people's faces off just to do it. I mean, what kind of mental um, thing are they doing to these poor soldiers? They're like, hey, this you got to go cut this little girl's face off, and and then when they get out of service, they're going to probably shoot themselves because of what they did.
Yeah.
Is there's a sad reality to it, but they now they're probably testing a lot of the new tech and stuff like that down there, and that's what they've done over the years, and it's one of them they've they've done so many times over and over again. Like like I can't imagine they would do that. Like, yeah, they've done it so many times now. I mean, how many more times they gotta do the same thing over and over again before we realize
I
uh,
uh,
it's absolutely. Let's see. I don't know. Where is my notes?
I I like the Y files, but I gotta be honest. I get a little irritated at his endings when he starts debunking them.
He
I'm
said
like,
everybody cuts off like he says he watches the thing, and you can see he's like that's when as soon as he starts to talk about like debunking them, that's when everybody cuts off. Like all of the um that's his numbers drop like poop down to nothing. Because
well,
that's
because the way he does it is like he the way in my perspective is when he starts to trying to debunk it, he does it as like a matter of fact, like it's not true at all because of this and this and this. It's like, well, how do you know?
hmm
So I don't know.
yeah.
That's just me though. I'm like, don't just keep the good info and the fun stuff, and then you don't need to debunk it, bro. It's okay.
I like it because it like sometimes he pulls up stuff that I've never heard before. So I'm like, huh. So I just sometimes I'm like halfway through the show, I'm not even paying attention to him anymore. I'm over here on the computer sitting there going down a damn rabbit hole. What in the hell is he talking about? And so like, and part of that stuff he was just talking like I was with the Vietnam and all that. He brought that up on that show, and so I'm like, well, I ain't heard that. So down the rabbit hole I went and started looking and found like, yep, Operation Often, it was a CIA program tied to MK Ultra that they recruited psychics and even witches to trying to use their supernatural abilities to aid during the Cold War. There's lots of
Oh,
wild,
that
interesting
is
stuff.
wild.
Interesting stuff they did during for MK Ultra. They had so many projects. They had 162 sub projects, and lots of them they destroyed a lot of information so we don't have nothing. It's just like small lines of like, okay, so we don't even know how absolutely horrible some of them are.
They just released, sorry to interrupt you, this Juliet Engel that I've been listening to. I've been binging on Juliet Engel interviews. And she was one of her uncles were in Operation Paperclip. They founded the NSA, and they went to Germany, and they were in Nuremberg, and they brought a whole lot of the Nazis back, and they started the program, the MK Ultra program. Her uncles, her great uncles, her grandfather's brothers, and her grandfather, and they all sold their oldest child into the program. So she was the oldest child, and she got sold into the program when she was 6 years old, like in 1955. She was sold into it. And so, but she says that there were a lot of documents released this year, right before Christmas. A lot of MK Ultra documents were released. And so she's been especially doing a lot of interviews because so many people that went through the program don't know they've been through the program, and they've got suicide programming built in so that when their memories start to flood back, they'll eventually encounter a suicide programming memory. She says a lot of the musicians that died, the famous musicians who died at 27, a lot of them encountered that suicide programming at that point in their lives. There's a famous musician like Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and all those musicians that died young. A lot of them were 27. That's called they call it the 27 Club. Anyway, she says there are a lot of documents that have been released, but that, yeah, she names a lot of names in different places where the programs were done in the universities around. She said Disneyland, part of their programming was done in tunnels under Disneyland. This would have been in the 50s and 60s. So I think there's a lot more known about it as far as the documents that have just been released last December, right before Christmas. But I don't think many people have had time to process those documents yet and really study them.
When they release those documents, a lot of times they release tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of documents. So one, it's hard to go through a lot of them. Second, anything like super juicy, like with MK Martin Luther King or JFK, anything that's super damning or juicy, if you will, my opinion, is either been completely redacted, because there's like documents that they release and the whole page is redacted, and it's like, is that really releasing it? Like, yeah, you're releasing the actual paper, but you marked out every freaking piece of information on it, so you can't read it. Or they destroyed it, so you're not going to ever see it. So I think that's a lot of it, is that you're going to get bits and pieces and maybe some good nuggets, but anything super damning or good is either, like I said, completely redacted or not even there.
Well, Jimmy Dore was reading some of the pages on his show, and they were pretty juicy.
Were they? I have to look at, yeah. But I think, especially with like the JFK stuff, or maybe Martin Luther King, or even like Epstein stuff, a lot of that stuff is like, it's gone.
Yeah.
But
Why
yeah,
would
the
they keep
redacted, The redacted stuff is that pisses me off. It's like, yeah,
I
we
know.
released it, and it's the whole page is blacked out. It's like, what? All you have is like the document number on the top of the page on the header, and
Yeah.
maybe
And
the
a date.
CIA stamp and the page
Yeah,
number.
that's it. It's crazy that we were. I know me and Jamie and Dave. When they were talking about all that stuff, and like that was one of the things we brought up a bunch of times. Like, please, for the love of God, don't have everything just. Yeah, we're releasing all the Epstein. We're releasing all this stuff and turn around and be, blacked out. Like like you just said. You know, if you do that, you're not releasing nothing. You're just effing with the people. Um,
Yeah,
I
you're
want to see
releasing
everything get
actual
released.
paper.
Yeah, I want to see everything get released. I want everything to hit the fan and whatever lies, whatever happens. I know there's going to be a lot of people that, um, for celebrities or whatever else, they're going to be their mind blown or whatever. But it, I want everything to hit the fan and whatever happens. But would I get that? I don't know. But that's my hope and wish and dream is see all the truth, all the lies come to truth, and everybody see. Um, maybe one day, who knows? But I'm not
Well,
holding my
especially
breath.
the
I'm
stuff
not holding my breath
that
though.
well, especially the stuff that's happened decades ago. It's my personal opinion. It's really not going to affect our day to day lives today if the
Yeah.
truth comes out. So just release it. I could see like stuff happening like last year, or the past 10 years, or even like 9/11 stuff could have or could and would affect day to day life. But something happened 60, 70 years ago, 50 years ago. Yeah, your mind's gonna be blown. You might be pissed or like, holy hell. But is it really gonna affect your day to day living? I don't really think so.
No, I mean because like we had to declassify stuff for Vietnam, and they declassified and showed that hey that the Gulf and Tonkin incident never even happened. So and the whole reason we went into Vietnam was just because they wanted to go to Vietnam, and they
Yeah,
false flagged it, and now it's out. And it's one of them things like for a lot of people they're upset, and for me is I'm upset because I know my grandfather got sprayed with Agent Orange and got influenza
Yeah.
and all kinds of crap.
my
He
grandfather did too. He died from Agent Orange like
yeah he did too.
6 years ago.
Mine was a little more than that, but it was sad because they I mean he was in Korea and then he went to Vietnam. He had two Purple Hearts. He gave it his all, and
What
a
rank
couple
was he?
months. Man, I don't remember. I do not remember. I know he was in the army and he got out and he went to be a civvy and worked for the military after that. Um,
That sounds like my grandfather, but he was a colonel in the
I don't
army.
remember what he was. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to ask my aunt, my dad. But he turned around and I'm just blanking, absolutely blanking. But and like 2 3 months after he passed away, that my grandma got phone call. Oh, by the way, he's approved for his surgery. He can have it now. And like she's like, she went off on him. She went
That was
nuts.
purposely
Oh,
done.
Yeah. Just effing with people. It's like, man, these people gave their life, and that's why. And I deep down my soul, that's why my grandfather looked at me straight in my eyes, like, Ricky, do not go. Because my whole family, my dad was Navy, my uncle was Navy, my grandfather was Army, my uncle was Marines, my aunt was in Army. I mean, I have military. I got cousins in the Army. Uh, you know, I was military family through and through. But my grandfather looked at me and said, "No, Ricky, don't do it." Because I think he, deep down, he knew, like, uh, you know, he knew what they did to him, and they didn't want him. He didn't want him to see him to do that to me. And
yeah.
um, because I mean, he just, absolutely, uh, it's just sad to see, what they would do. Just they just throw away these poor soldiers, they use them up, and over false flags and this damn, you know, military industrial complex of making money, and that's all they
It's
worry about.
greed. It's greed.
Absolutely.
Was it Nixon that warned us in his going away speech about the military industrial complex?
Eisenhower.
Was it
Mhm.
Eisenhower?
Yeah, before Kennedy.
And
Yep.
they,
And
and
he was talking about the military industrial complex, the medical industrial complex, but we didn't heed that warning.
I mean,
I think
especially back then, they didn't have, you know, they were just, listening to what they were told. Like, hey, he's heard that, but, you know, that back then they didn't have internet, so you can keep on listening to it. And hey, here's a video of this. It was that one time and you heard it, and that was it. You went on your way,
well,
and
I think Kennedy was right after Eisenhower, and Kennedy was trying to do some things like talking about destroying the CIA, and they tried to do the Operation Northwoods, which was like a false flag that would make it look like the Cubans killed Americans when actually it was Americans killing Americans. And Kennedy refused to do that. So it sounds to me like Kennedy was also trying to push back against the military industrial complex in some ways also.
he
Well,
was
I
And
in the
he,
think
Federal Reserve,
Kennedy.
and he was
yeah,
trying to get APAC actually,
yeah,
labeled or what they are. But they, of course, once he passed away, all that stuff went away for APAC.
yeah, that
They
was it.
want to do.
I'm pretty sure Kennedy he even was quoted saying he was going to break the CIA, FBI into 1,000 pieces.
Yeah, because they tricked him and they tried to trick him, and he knew he couldn't trust them. And Robert F. Kennedy, he's Jr. said that when his uncle got killed, John Kennedy, his uncle Robert, who was the attorney general and worked with his brother real closely, he called them right away, the CIA, and said, "Did you kill him? Did you kill my brother?" So he knew who to ask. Did you do it? But of course, they aren't going to say yes.
And
But
Robert's the one to have his brain, and then they stole his brain.
I don't know. I think no, I think they took John F. Kennedy's brain or parts of him, and that I've listened to a lot of doctors the different doctors that were there that day when he came into Parkland Hospital in Dallas, and nurses and things. That whole neurosurgery, that whole department that where he came into the emergency room, they left Parkland Hospital, which was a top of the line hospital, and they moved to a hospital, I think in Washington, because they got so many of them got killed or threatened because the stories that were told weren't true, and they knew they weren't true. So so that they had just picked up that whole emergency department there in Parkland Hospital, or neurosurgery department, and moved it. They all went to another hospital. But really interesting stories those people have to tell of the condition that Kennedy was in when he came in, and who was in charge. And his brain was just destroyed. But
Mhm.
they the autopsy was really his body was messed with, and a lot. I'm not sure if they took his brain, but there were the photos that they showed weren't really of him. And yeah, it's just a lot of monkey business that went on with that.
You see that a lot
Well,
though, for all of it, like even like 9/11 and so many things that happen like that, the all the people, the no little people, quotation marks, around them mysteriously, passed away. Like even with you know, the SEAL team that, killed bin Laden,
Yeah.
all of them died. I mean, like what in the hell? Like all but one, it's like one of them, you see that over and over again. A lot of the people that were on the ground at 9/11 was sitting there talking about like how things are blowing up and bombs going off and all that stuff. They all passed away. Like all them people
Mhm.
passed away. Is
or the
mysterious coincidence and circumstances, of course.
or
Yeah.
how they find the passports of the 9/11. The only passport that survived is the terrorists, and it's like burns all the way up to the picture and it stops. It's
Yeah.
like, really?
We need to build planes out of passports. We could just build buildings and planes out of passports, and we never had to worry about nothing.
There you
Hit
go.
it with hurricanes, it wouldn't matter. It just I don't know. 9/11. I'm excited about 9/11 for this year because I know Jason wants to come. Jason Barker's going to come on the show, and we're going to talk 9/11 conspiracies on 9/10. So we'll take it into 9/11 once it goes, but we'll be on 9/10. We'll have Jason come on and talk stuff. It's gonna be fun because
Yeah.
last year I put together a spread. I had a bunch of videos and all kinds of stuff, and I need to get back over there and redo it because I know what I'm doing better now. I was just winging it like I do everything else, but and learning as I go. But that's lots of information, lots of stuff that
Yeah.
um, you know.
And I don't think it's still all out.
No, and a lot of people
Not
cover
even.
stuff like like a lot of people don't know nothing about Building 6. Building 6 is to me in my head is the one that kind of shows what really happened because and you can look up pictures of it with the ease online. Nobody's really covering it up, but if you look at when you truly look at the building and you see it, there's for the ones that don't know, and then if you don't know, tune in on the 10th.
Well,
And you'll
I've heard
see
of Building
pictures.
7, but I've never heard of Building 6.
Building 6 actually has a hole blown in the center of it. I'll find a picture of it and share it. I have it on a folder.
Catherine Austin Fitz says that, you know who Catherine Austin Fitz is. She's the one who discovered the missing trillions, like 23 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
And she said they were doing a report they were going to publish about a few missing trillions right before it was scheduled to come out. I don't know, 9/12 or something. And then you had Donald Rumsfeld making the speech about the missing 2.5 trillion or something like that from the Pentagon. And then
The
the
day
next
before,
day, huh?
it was the day before 9/11
Yeah.
when Rumsfeld said that, right?
Right. And then the next day you had 9/11, but there was a report coming out that she was working on also about the missing money. So she was like, okay, this is because she was Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development during the first Bush administration. So she was working on a big report that was going to be published about missing money and looking forward to it. And of course, it was no big deal because 9/11 happened, right before that report was published. And then Rumsfeld did his announcement the day before 9/11. So I think it was a big heist in a lot of ways. And then I think, wasn't it one of the Bush brothers that ran the security for the Twin Towers, that had the security and the contract?
And then they turned around and they took every bit of steel and they put it up on barges and shipped it off to
They
China
got
to
it the
recycle.
heck out of there. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got
Have you
for the
guys?
ones that can see it. For the ones that can see it, I got a picture pulled up on the screen, and it's the picture of the destruction. You got building 1, building 2, have a building 4 over here, of course, crumble where the building fell. And building 7, but then building 6, there's a big old hole right in the center of it.
Oh yeah.
And so it was like, well, that one was supposed to get crumbled down too, but something happened and it didn't.
Interesting.
Have you
So
have you
building
guys
6 is
heard
off.
of have you guys heard of Dr. Julie Wood? She's
Yeah.
Have you, Ricky?
The name sounds familiar. There's so much information in my head. It's sometimes hard to.
Yeah.
I had to hear context.
She's I think she's an builds the buildings. What is that?
An architect or an engineer?
Yeah,
Well, there's
I think an
architects and
engineer.
engineers for the 9/11 Truth is a big group.
I think she's part of maybe. I think she was an engineer or not. Anyways, she thinks that she even wrote a book about it. That it's 9/11. The towers and the all the other buildings were hit with a direct energy weapon,
Yeah.
and she breaks it down and how like lower parts of like the twin towers were dustified and just poof gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess cars and certain metals on the cars were melted, but like the windows were fine, and like the tires and all kinds of weird stuff. If you haven't
Mm-hmm.
looked into her, Ricky, that's something. If you're interested, that you might like that.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I seen they one of the engines they found from during 9/11. They said, well, here's one of the engines from the plane, but when they actually looked into what the engine was, I guess they brought the wrong engine out or whatever, because it's that brand of engine and stuff was not in the planes that hit supposedly hit the building. So
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
wrong. It was the
they
wrong
brought
engine.
a steam engine instead.
Well, it was a jet engine, but it was a
Oh,
GE motor, and they didn't, and that airline didn't use GE motors, and so it's just small little loopholes, like not loopholes, but small little details like that going, um, make you look at questions like that and go, oh, wait a minute, you know, there's how if this is supposed to be this plane, then how is this the wrong engine sitting on the ground? There's, you know, he, you know, it, and it happened over and over again throughout that. That's and nine. I've said this a lot of time on my show for the ones that heard me, but like 9/11 was the one that made me really start going down and asking questions. Like I said, I've always asked questions, but watch out, cat. And but is like wait a minute. There's when we turned around during 9/11 and they said, well, Bin Laden did this, and I remember deep down I was like, man, we need to blow them up. We need to blow up all of them, level them out, because they attacked us. We need to attack them, And I was like, just gung ho, you know. America was hurt, and then he's Afghanistan and blah blah blah. So I said, well, we need to level up Afghanistan, whatever. I was in that mindset, and then we went to Iraq, and I'm like, what are we going to Iraq for? What's the purpose of that? They got
Do you
weapons of
remember?
mass destruction. They got
Yeah.
WMDs and all this, and I'm like, yeah, but that don't have nothing to do with what
Yeah.
the reasoning behind this. And then, of course, a lot of people are like, I don't care. We can level all of them out as long as we don't touch Israel. We can level the whole Middle East out. And I'm like,
from the glass.
something's wrong. There's something wrong here, and that
7 nations in 5 years. General Wesley Clark.
yeah,
We're going to war. We're going to war. We're going into. What
yeah,
are we doing that for? It's worse than
Egypt,
that. We're doing
Syria,
7 nations.
Libya.
And Iran is the last one on that list, the Project for the New American Century.
Hmm.
Iran's the last one on that list that hasn't been toppled or turned over, overthrown.
Yeah,
And
they want to go away from the dollar as the, petrodollar as the how to purchase oil, and every time each one that tried it, they got a regime change, and
yeah,
they got a little democracy brought into them. I used to watch years ago. Tell you how long ago. If you go back and look some of the videos, you can see how long I've been digging into this fun stuff. It's by this Storm Clouds Gathering, and he did really good videos and stuff back in the day, and talking about that, talking about the petrodollar, and um, and all kinds of stuff. What this is going to bring if he turned around, what's going on at that time. And I was really into watching his videos, and he finally gave it up and bought him some land in South America and just disappeared. And he's just like, after all this, I'm
well, good for him.
tired of all of it, and but yeah, there was, every one of them was trying to go away from the petrodollar. And for the ones that, listen that don't know what the petrodollar is, we to buy barrels of oil, which you have to use American dollars. And so if you turn around and have to have American dollars, then you have to, if your country needs dollars, then you have to send goods to us to receive dollars, and then you can take them dollars and then buy oil with it. And that was the world currency of, and that's what's backed up the dollar for years, is since the 70s, is oil. The Federal Reserve hadn't had gold since 1936, I think it is. And, and so that's reasoning behind so many of these regime changes and so many of these wars over there, because so many countries are like, man, I'm tired of having to give my good product, my fruit or whatever it is, to give it to for these pieces of paper that, they can go print some more, and it's going to be 10 times worth less than it is tomorrow, because they keep printing this shit and making wars. And so they got tired of it. Well, we're going to go gold standard, or we're going to go this standard. And then a little democracy came in, and all of a sudden, Gaddafi is killed and hung up, and all that.
Gaddafi was a real to me, he's one of I mean, to me, he was a prime example of that. He had his whole country on a great water system using primary water, and was doing, I think, really good things for that country.
The
And
countries are beautiful over there, and until
yeah,
we get over there and freaking level them poor things.
yeah. And then during Bonanza, I think it was in 1971, President Nixon cut into an episode of Bonanza and said that they were taking the dollar off the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
they untied the dollar from the gold standard. I think it was 1970 or 71 during
that's
an
when they
episode of Bonanza.
and then that's when they actually turned around and were like, hey, because they were because we were we were holding a lot of the world's gold, and they were turning around, and well, we were, it was like, hey, wait a minute, they got to be printing, other countries were like, hey, they got to be printing more money than they got gold on hand. Something's going on. So they're like, hey, we want our gold back. And then turn around, and yeah, Nixon's like, nope, to protect the United States, we're not letting you have none of your gold, and we're going to keep it all. And because and they did, and so that's exactly what they did. And they went. That's when they went to the, they had all the old embargo, and we lost the muscle car, and we.
I still want to know what happened to going to the Fort Knox, President Trump.
That was just
what happened to
show.
a lot of things? What happened to a lot of things?
That was a shit show.
Right.
We know that some bitch is empty.
I don't know. I gotta call it a night and get to bed. I've got a show to do in the morning. We're having a guest on, and been really looking forward to it. But it was really great to talk to you guys. It was nice to meet you, Shane, and nice to talk to you, Ricky.
Yeah, appreciate you, Karen. I just Shane talking on Discord, and then I'm like, well, hell, let me get home, and I'll go on live, and I never thought we'd be here 3 hours later, and it was such a great conversation stuff. Yeah, it's after 1 o'clock here, so
yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Appreciate you, Karen. Appreciate you popping in.
Okay,
Karen,
thanks.
can you post your link on the Discord on Trouble Minds
I'm
for
not
your
on
show?
I'm not on Discord, but Ricky can post it for us. Can you post it for us in Rumble, Ricky, or I could post it in Rumble?
Yeah, Sweets is posted on Rumble, and I know we'll get it on Discord. I'm sure.
Night to the storm.
Sweets, yeah. Sweets will take care. I know she will. She's
okay. Thank you, Sweets.
Yeah, she's posted on both Rumble and YouTube, and we'll get it in Discord for you, Shane, so you can listen tomorrow. It's 1 o'clock Central, and they got a good show.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to come back.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think Jason has you on the calendar.
Yeah, October. We tried to do it one day, and then I forgot. I was going to do it one day, and I said, okay, we do it that day. Okay, cool. Okay, we'll do that. And then I'm like, oh, hell, we got people competing in a tournament. And I said, all right. And then I said, well, I can do it the next weekend. And then I'm like, as soon as I said it, I sent the text. I'm like, oh, I was like, that's the weekend of my daughter. I was like, that's the day of my daughter's wedding. I was like, no, I
Yeah,
can't be there for that.
that's not going to work.
I get killed for
Yeah,
sure. And I,
Damn,
but
life gets in the way.
yeah.
life gets in the way sometimes. And the weekend after that, I'm going down to, I got a guy fighting um, down in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So I got to go to that. I'll be down
Cool.
there. So I was like, well,
That's
we'll just
cool.
push it out to October. So we won't
Okay.
put yeah, whatever the hell it is. We'll figure it out. But I'll be
Okay.
coming back soon, and it's going to be fun. And
Awesome.
thank you, Karen, for
Okay.
being here, and thank you, Shane, for
Okay.
being here. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you. Was not expecting it, but turned out awesome. And time flew.
It did. I swear I was like, well, we'll be on here maybe an hour or something. No big deal. And I was like, well, I'll pop up on here and throw something together real quick, and we might be on here an hour, and almost 3.5 hours later, we've had great chat, and like I said, I never would have guessed it. It was meant to be. Then that's all I can say. It was meant to be for sure.
Yeah, and I like it was open ended. We hit many spectrums,
Oh
and
yeah.
maybe we can do it again.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
we can do it again and
Yeah, that'd be
uh,
awesome. That'd be awesome.
just
Yeah.
go from there. But
If if I'm a part of it, it's gonna be we're gonna have some ADD moving around, jumping around little moments because just how my brain works. We're gonna have to talk about a little bit of everything, but it a lot of it tied
see,
together
but
though.
that's a real conversation, though.
For
But I
sure.
mean, that's a real conversation, though. That's how legitimate conversations happen. You go from one thing to another, then you're like, oh, that popped in my head, and then you go down that hole.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's I think a lot of people like about
I can't figure out how to leave.
let's see. It's
Can
on the
you?
bottom. Well, I know. So I'm trying to think how it shows on the phone. It should be on the bottom right, if I remember right. It'll be a little
Oh my
red
goodness.
little phone, like a little red phone, if I remember right.
Are you on your phone?
Yeah, I'm just on my phone. I'm just gonna turn my phone off. Okay. Good night, you guys.
Good night.
That's so
Uh,
funny.
that is. I don't even know what
But
else
yeah,
now. I don't even know what else to say. Um, but yeah, no, but yeah, that's how real conversation, like you said, that's how real conversations are, and I think that's something like everybody's been very receptive for on my channel is because that that's how I am. Especially on live is I don't have no script. I don't have anything. I don't have nothing wrote down. It's I write notes as we're going along, and as you know, like where y'all, you and Karen are having back and forth there for a second, and so I, scribble down something real quick on on my screen just to for I won't forget, and then just little small little things, but it's just it's genuine and it's real and it's raw and it's a bunch of fun. But yeah, we'll sure do this again sometime. I mean, especially since I know Trouble Minds ain't gonna do nothing Sunday night. We could do something Sunday night again if we had a group of one or two. I don't care if just had to see how everybody's going and everything doing. We'll figure it out in Discord. We have a day everybody
all
wants to
right.
get together. I don't mind. It takes me about about 15 minutes, I guess, to get everything, all my channels and move the title and all that kind of fun stuff. And as long as I'm not trying to build a Substack and figure out the hard part is figuring out the title. Mike Strange's so good on something like that. I know he's figuring out titles of of the discussion and all that stuff. That's hard sometimes.
Oh, most definitely. Well, and some of it, sometimes I'll be honest, some of the titles that on the Trouble Minds show, I have to wait for I have to read the write up because I'm like, I don't understand it. Maybe it's just my simple mind. I don't know, but some of them I'm like, I don't understand what it means, so I have to wait. But yeah, coming with titles, especially a hook, one that with a good hook, where people are
Mhm.
like, "What is this going to be about?" You know?
Yeah, I've tried to use AI. I'm like, all right, build me a title and like make me something, and then it. I've done it once and it was like it didn't go very well. So me figuring out title has been better, like for getting people involved. Butter Dave's Waffle House. If y'all need some fun, having fun, Dave's Waffle House on YouTube. Eh, What is it over there right now? It's 6 o'clock in the morning over there or something. He's over.
Where?
He's in a YouTube chat, but he has a YouTube channel called Dave's Waffle House, and but he lives in England over there, so I think it's 5 hours ahead or something like that. So he's getting up to go to work
Is
again,
it? Oh, geez.
4 or 5 hours ahead. But yeah, he'll lurk when he sees me pop on. He'll come lurk and always shouts the channel out. So I 7:20 a.m. Holy hell! It's time to
I don't
go to
even know
work.
what time it is. What time is it here?
Uh,
Okay, it's 11:21 here. Because I live in Arizona.
oh, okay, yeah, it's 1:21 here. So oh, he's
Are
way ahead
you?
of you.
Oh yeah.
Holy hell! That's amazing how all that stuff works. That's crazy. When you get off in the Pacific Ocean, it's like I remember when we came back from Guam. It was I got 2 birthdays that year because it was right there at my birthday, and we crossed that line and went back to do the day before. It was weird.
Yeah, when I was younger, I went to see my sister, and she lives in North Carolina. And I don't remember if it was me coming back from North Carolina to Arizona or me going from Arizona to North Carolina. But the flight time was like the flight took off at 2 p.m. and I landed at 2 p.m. And I remember I was like, how is that possible? Like because I was only, man, I don't know, not 8 or 9 years old. So like the time zones, I didn't grasp the time zones. I'm like, how's that? How am I taking off from one state and then landing in a different state at the same exact time? And my dad was like, it's called time travel.
Yeah, I hate this stuff, especially when you come back and go in the opposite direction. It's like, man, I'm gonna be here at such and something. Like, no, I'm gonna be an hour later. I'm like, whatever, whatever it is, what it is. Uh, but I
I
guess
haven't flown much though. I've never really gotten like what is it? Jet lag. So I've only flown like a handful of times and it's only been like from Arizona to California or the furthest was to Kentucky from Arizona. So
yeah, I've only flown once since I've been an adult. I flew over there to South Carolina, which like from here was like by the time the airplane leveled out, it was already going in descent. It seemed like it was like within 10 minutes, it was just already descending. You could feel it like it was
you're like, and I spent
going
that
up,
much on this.
and then about it leveled out. I did my camera again. Me and my talking hands. How do I make it go the other way? I'm
Maybe you
gonna
can turn those sensors off.
Yeah, I need to. I forget. I forget how to do that. I seen it and then I was like, well, I ain't worried about that stuff. I ain't gonna use it. It's making me go back down. It's a silly damn thing.
See, that would be good for like me or like James that get to use the sensors on the like where it can focus automatically or move if we move
Yeah, yeah,
or
it's really
anyone would.
neat. Yeah, it's real neat. It's got a yeah, it'll focus on you. You can move around and uh, I don't know how to do it though.
What brand
It's a
is the
O- OBS bot, ObSpot, I guess, right there. They got a bunch of different ones. You can go all the way up to. They're pretty high, but this one wasn't bad. Um, I was using my GoPro, but I was cooking my GoPro, so it was some days my GoPro would just sit there and cut off because it was just too much for it. It was sitting here and um,
Were you heating it up too? Like it's getting too hot?
yeah, well, because it was sitting there, um, because it had to stay plugged in the whole time, and then um,
That would do it.
there it goes. I figured it out. Yeah, it has to stay plugged in the whole time. I left a battery in it one time, and the battery box exploded on it. I almost didn't get it. It was swelled up so bad I barely got it out. I actually tore the end of it off to get it out, and so I only got,
Was it a lithium battery?
yeah, whatever this battery is. I don't even know.
Well, you're lucky it didn't explode.
Yeah, I was lucky. It got big, and then so I was like, well, I'll leave the battery out, and then it turned around and it still, like I said, it got hot. It When I was on the nights of the storm the last time, it actually cut out on me, and I turned around and I had to unplug it and plug it back in. It was just a pain in the butt. So I got this one here, and this one here seems to be doing better. It's designed to do it. It ain't, GoPros is designed to have a battery in it and run around and doing silly stuff, and it wasn't designed to be
Oh,
plugged in and running for 4 hours and like here 3.5 hours on the podcast. That's a lot to ask for it, So
well, I don't know if you know this, but are your phone, right? Your cell phone. It's not good to keep it plugged in all the time or fully charged. You want it to run out of battery every once in a while because it it actually diminishes battery life. Like if you keep it charged 100% of the time or plugged in, or
Mhm.
anything with especially like a battery that can be taken off the charger. It You want it to be able to run as low as you can, or even run out of juice every once in a while. And I don't know why you lose battery life. You're charging, like say like the battery brand new, it like has like a 8 hour life charge on it. But if you keep it plugged in continuously and don't let it drain, eventually it'll drop to like 7 hour battery life or 6 hour. I don't know if that makes sense, but and I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
how the mechanics work on it, like why it does that. I need to ask my dad because he's the one that was telling me that. He's the one that works at Raytheon and worked at Area 51 in the 80s and bona fide genius with a 152 IQ. So I don't think he's lying to me.
No, I imagine not. Imagine not.
Yeah, actually, today, for you was yesterday. It was his 71st birthday, and he's still full time at Raytheon working,
Awesome.
building things that protect us.
That's cool.
Which I've tried to ask him. I tried to ask him a bunch of, especially like when he worked at Area 51, because he has a lot of engineer friends and colleagues. A lot of them are retired now, but a lot of them work there too with them. And I try to get information from him and those guys, but they are super, super tight lipped. Like they take their NDA seriously. Like
Oh yeah.
super. But what's weird is I know at least probably 10, 12 engineers that my dad worked with at Area 51. And what's sad is every single one of them, including my dad, has gotten cancer in their later lives, and they all worked there. So I wonder what kind of things they were exposed. Because we were talking about the military and the Agent Orange and all that. So yeah, my dad had throat cancer. Mm, 8 years ago. Never smoked. He drank, but Yeah. So and like everyone, his friends now are dealing with some type of cancer. It was just like crazy, and they all worked at Raytheon, at Area 51 in the 80s. So it's I don't know something's happening.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Like a lot of people don't know, Agent Orange is that was the last one that they found that worked the best. But there was lots of other. I think there was Agent Red, there's Agent Green, there was a bunch of different other colors too. But that was Orange was the last one that worked the best to do what they wanted to do. And uh,
It's
but yeah,
nasty.
yeah, it was terrible, terrible what he's done and what he's done to the people over there, and just horrible,
Well, like
horrible.
my it- like my grandpa that died from it, like he had like mirror image symptoms of like hard, like it's super advanced dementia. I remember they did an autopsy and said his brain was like Swiss cheese. Like there was holes throughout his brain because it just deteriorated it. And it's hard to see, especially a man like that was a colonel in the army that had many men under him, running partial bases. Like he ran some bases in Germany and Tehran, uh, Iraq in the 70s. And like he was like uh, the ideal military man's man from that era, which I'm guessing your grandfather was like that too. And to see him like deteriorate into like the fetal position in a bed and then just waste away. It's like, and it's because of the military, which they
Mhm.
didn't do crap for him. And like what you said, when your grandfather passed, they called like 3 months or a month later. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
he could have surgery. Like that's I, I don't know. It makes me mad, sad, and mad.
Yeah, it makes me mad. I was just thinking about it, and um, just just burns me inside. Yeah, yeah, he was down to like God, he couldn't have been more than 115 pounds, 120 pounds, something like that. 5'8", 5'7", about my height, um, but like 120 pounds, like 115 pounds. He was small. When it's all said and done, it's sad, uh, knowing that he gave a 40 plus years of his life to the military. With between being in the military and the army, and then being as a civvy working for the military, and yeah, just knowing what they did and what they just f them, basically, they don't care. We got what
Yeah,
you
go
want out
home
of you.
and
Yeah, go home and die. We don't care about you. But it's I hate to think about it that way, but that's how they act and that's how they are. It really is. It's sad, but sad, messed up stuff.
it's still like that in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. VA is no better, no better.
Yep. But I'm gonna call it a night. It's been awesome.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Me too. I'm getting off here too. I gotta be up about 6 hours. So, um, uh, like I said, I never would have guessed we would have done what we done today, but I'm thankful and blessed that we were able to do what we did and have such a great conversation with you and me and Karen coming on, and then a conversation with the chat, and um, we had a. It's been awesome. It really has. Um, Appreciate everybody in the chat, and we'll do this again, for sure. We want just y'all get with me, especially ones on Discord and stuff like that. Um, you know, Let me know, and we'll do this again. And um, I love it. Having good conversation um, and my favorite part when stuff like this, where we're able to get together and like somebody says, I haven't heard about that. Like that's my absolute favorite. Like thing is like, oh, okay, cool. You know, I can I'm actually spreading knowledge that you didn't know. Information that you didn't know. it could be valuable. You could like it or something, So appreciate Sweets sharing all the links to everybody. She got Shane's link out there. She got Knights of the Storm, which they will be um, in less than 12 hours. They'll be live on Rumble. They got a good show between Karen and Jason Barker and Ashley. They're very smart people. Um, and they bounce off each other. And I think Karen said they had a special guest coming on, so that's going to be fun. Let's see who we got. We got Joey. Yeah, Joey could have came up, um, but next time. Um, I didn't see you. It messed me up. We got Karen Carpenter and Karen Peterson. I didn't see the Karen Peterson popped in. Appreciate you popping in. Um, Dave's Waffle House. Always want to shout him out. Gaston. Let's see. Hiker. Even though Hiker was late, but that's all right. It's Rumble being rumbling. Michael Strange for popping in and for bringing us all together. Really, got a shout out to him. Monique popped in while at work. Willie's Desert Hangout. You check him out on YouTube. He's got a cool channel where he plays music all day and hanging out, just talking to people. Got cool people around there. Wally's World, him and Bat. Wally and Bat's always awesome. Always big supporters of the channel. Mr. Mission Control. He popped in at the beginning. Let's see who else I missed here. Raz, I'm sorry, Raz23 on the Rumble. And let's see who else we missed here. Herschel. We got about Herschel try to come on here and talk some. Maybe we can figure that out. We'll figure out the Linux to Riverside connection. Maybe we can get him on here next time. But I appreciate everybody. And as always, y'all keep on keeping on in the peace and chicken grease. Y'all be good. Appreciate y'all.